Hey, we're live. Good evening, everybody. It's Rusty, as usual, from Stunthangar Control Line Forums, and welcome to our Monday night video hangout. It is February 18th, 2019, and we're here to talk about aeromodeling or any other kind of modeling and stuff you like to do in your shop. Hopefully, the weather's getting better where you are for getting out to the shop, that sort of thing, building and getting ready for the summer flying season. And so if you want to come in and join us, you can get in by going to the Stunt Hanger Control Line channel on YouTube, or you can go to the Stunt Hanger Control Line forums and go to the thread under live streaming. It's on the front main page, under the open forum. Keep scrolling down until you see live streams, and the only thread in it's called At the Bench. That'll have the link to come in here live if you've got a microphone and a camera and want to join us that way. Otherwise, if you uh, want to click the video up that's in that thread, you can click the YouTube logo at the bottom right corner of the video window. That'll take you to the watch page on YouTube where the chat box is, and so you can hang out in the chat box. Usually, we get a pretty good crowd in there, just in the text chat, and that also chat box gives you the opportunity to click our little $sign at the bottom for a little donation to help keep us on the air and free, and keep Sparky's server fees paid up. So we appreciate that if you can and will. And if you can't or don't want to, then that's fine too. Everybody's welcome. Just want to remind you that's there. So let's see. I think we got a few people watching us right now. The little indicator that tells me how many people are watching us has not been working for the past couple of nights. So I have to keep this right now. Oops. Indicator. Clicked on the YouTube. That is why you want to mute the YouTube feed if you've got a tab open, so you don't get feedback like that. I had to switch over to YouTube to see that we've got 6 watching now. So I'm going to minimize that again. And so the video started up when I flipped over to it. So if you do want to come in live with us, if you've got any tabs with the YouTube feed in the background, be sure and stop that feed. Not only mute it, but stop the video feed. And that way you won't do what I just did and have everything come through the speakers, back through the microphone, and start a big echo going on. Hey, Jeff Riley's out there. Good evening, Jeff. Glad to see you. Jeff's always one of our early visitors, and glad to see you out there. Hopefully, they'll be coming in one by one and joining up with us. And you guys over there on the YouTube chat box can keep me company until we get some video visitors in with us, and hopefully we'll get a good crowd tonight. We've had a couple of good shows in a row. Let's see who we got. Oh, JP says, howdy, Rust. Hey, JP, what's going on, man? Glad to see you. Thanks for coming in. And let's see, what do we got going on? This coming Saturday, we've got our first flying meeting of the year at Watt Moore's house in Chester, South Carolina. And Watt's got a nice control line field in his backyard. And he's also got a shop where if we tear our planes up, we can take them in the shop and work on them and tune them up and whatever needs doing. And anybody that visits that has never been there before gets to sign the pilot board. If you've put a flight up, you get to sign the pilot board, and it's got all kinds of names on it, from Bob Hunt is on there. I'm on there. Alan Brickhouse. Gosh, all kinds of. Let's see. Charlie Reeves is on there. We got lots of top shelf control line stunt guys on there. Stunt Combat, everybody. And so we always enjoy that. It's one of my favorite meetings. I like the meetings that we have at the members' houses that have control line fields. So that's Watts in February, and then in July we go to Duck's house. He's got a control line field and a beautiful museum. And then the other one we have off site, off the club site, is at Triple Tree Aerodrome, where the Joe Knoll is held, and that's in the late summer, and that's always a beautiful place to go. So I've I'm planning on flying this week at White's house. So that reminds me, something I hadn't actually thought of yet has come up on me so fast. I need to get out there or in here and start dry flying, just sticking my arm out and flying some circles and make sure I work the dizzies out, going clockwise and counterclockwise, so that I don't fall on my ass out in the field. It's been so long since I've flown, I'll probably get somebody to stand out there with me. And whether or not I can get the plane straight overhead and look up and see it across overs, I don't know. We'll see. And here comes Doug. Hang on, Doug, and let me let you in. Show and broadcast. There we go. Hey, Doug. How are you tonight?
There yet?
What'd you say?
Are we there yet?
We are getting there. Oh, I see you got your fancy shirt on tonight. What's the occasion? What do we do to deserve that?
Yeah, it's fancy shirt night.
Let me let Mike in. They're dropping in like flies. Hey, Mike.
What's going on, guys?
Oh, not much. We're just getting started. We got YouTube filling up too. Jeff Riley, JP, Jack Snevely, Gary Sinclair. So we got a pretty good crowd going. So Gary and you are in here with me. And I was just talking about going to fly this weekend at Watt's house. We're going to have our February meeting at Watts Field, South Carolina.
Down there to Watts after Huntersville. I know on Sunday everybody goes down there, but
yeah,
I tell you, after 3 days of contesting, all I want to do is go home.
Me too. A lot of times I'll skip Watts just because I'm shot after the meeting. I mean, after the contest. I
really should go. I should really take Sam down there either this spring or this fall.
The fall is the best if you want to go and have never been before, because all the Philly Flyers usually come at that time, and they put on exhibitions and do a lot more. So October's the one if you want to, just get one in for Sam and see Watt's place, then that's the best time.
Yeah.
Did you say Wyatt or Watt?
Watt. Watt Moore is his name.
Okay.
Did you ever get Control Line World, the Brodak magazine?
No, I'm not a subscriber.
All right. Okay. Watt's been on the cover of that with a plane or two over the years, but yeah, he's one of our old members.
There was a guy one time who saw one of my purple airplanes on Stunthangar, and he emailed me and said, "Do you have more pictures that I can publish because I need filler for the magazine?" And I said, "Well, sure." And so I sent him a huge bunch of pictures of airplanes, and I don't know if they ever showed up in the magazine or not. But his name was Jack something. It seems like, I don't know who. Jack Rogers or Jack Richards or something like that. I don't remember.
It doesn't ring a bell. What magazine? Who did you say he was from? Where?
One of those magazines, either the Pampa magazine or
Stunt News or Control Line World or Model Aviation. That's the only three I can name for modern ones.
It wasn't Model Aviation.
Yeah.
But I don't know whatever. And so, but nobody's come up to me and said, "Hey, I saw your airplanes in so-and-so magazine." So I don't know if you ever did anything with them. When
I first started joining clubs, and I was making all kinds of camera bomb shots, I was suddenly showing up in magazines all over the place, and I was surprised I'd never been in so many magazines, and it kind of faded off after I got to be a regular attendant at the contests and at the club meetings. But
Sam's a little superstar, man. He's been in all of them, man.
Yeah, he sure has. I
Made
see
the back cover
pictures.
of Stunt News here not too long ago, and he was in model aviation for the Nats and for Brodax, both those.
Yeah.
Jobs.
I love that picture of him holding the giant ringmaster. I think that's what it is. And
Yeah.
then I'm standing next to that's the guy that built it, I guess.
Bad job.
Yeah. That's why I'm standing next to somebody else. I don't know.
Bexel with the giant ringmaster.
That's right. Yeah.
And then Dan Banjock with the giant flight streak.
Giant flight streak. Yeah.
Yeah. So, well, I got one thing for show and tell tonight, but I'll wait till we pick up a little bit.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
I finished the jet. I finished the Tamigo jet.
Oh, cool.
I saw a red picture of that on another network, you might say.
Yeah. I put it on the Pulse Jet page and on the Control Line Flying page.
Yeah.
But today we've been doing our 4-H project. We are demonstrating how to build a simple circuit. So we've been working on that all day, me and Sam.
What with battery switch and bulb, light bulb, something like that?
Battery switch and a bulb. You got it, man. He's got to give his speech on Friday. So they were off school today for President's Day. So we decided to wait. He's had it for like 3 weeks. He's had the assignment. And of course, we wait till the week that it's due to get it done.
Of course, yeah.
But we're about there. We're about finished. I'm making up some alligator clips and wire so he can clip everything together.
When I was in the 5th grade, I did a show and tell one day with one of those dry cell batteries like we used to start the Cox engines. In fact, that's probably what it was one of my flying batteries, and wrapped a bunch of, I think it was probably 10 gauge bell wire around a nail and made an electromagnet.
Yeah, I looked at that one too.
It got hot as shit, though. I burned myself on it. I tried not to show it in front of the class, but it hurt like hell.
Yeah, it's hard to believe that apprentices and all that shit to come through, they get into the electrical part of it, and they don't understand that when you're using a meter, you're checking for potential. They're like, I'm checking this and I'm getting nothing. Well, yeah, because it's a completed circuit. You know, it's only an open circuit you can test for power. That's how you know it's open.
Yeah, you test for voltage on an open circuit. You test for current on a closed circuit.
So these guys are going down through there and it's like, oh, none of the stuff's working. No, it's all working. But yeah, I don't know. It's just hard for people to realize that if you see voltage, that's your problem. That's the open.
Understanding just the basic equation of Ohm's law explains it all, but you kind of have to have a concept of algebra first.
So did you guys all see my little neighborhood here on the news tonight?
What happened?
Hadn't seen any news.
It was on it's on all the channels, Fox and CBS and everything else. I guess a mom killed her 3 kids and killed herself just down the road from me.
Oh shit!
Oh crap! Were you acquainted with her at all, Steve?
No, she lives about 2 miles, actually about 2 miles away from me. It's the same road, but I'd say it's about 2 miles. They had everything blocked off around here because they thought it could have been an active shooter and all that kind of stuff. And
oh man, wonder what got into her.
Who knows?
I don't know. But you'll find out. You know, they ain't saying much. I take it where they were found wasn't where the kids were killed or something. I don't know.
Well, anybody
not much information.
What age was?
Got any aeromodeling updates from the weekend? Anybody get out and fly or out to the shop to work on anything?
I'm constantly working. No flying weather here.
Yeah.
No flying weather here either. It won't be for another few months.
It's only going to be a matter of weeks here, probably maybe a little longer for Mike and Sam, but it's coming. I think it's going to be about 50 or 60 degrees for Watt's meeting this weekend. Wind forecast is 4 miles an hour, but it's still kind of
that'd be great.
that.
Once it makes 45 here, we'll be flying. If the snow,
Yeah,
if there's only hardly any wind, then we'll be flying. But
yeah, 45 probably feels pretty good to you guys.
Yeah, if we could get 4-mile-an-hour wind too, we'd be in Hall Gavin, man.
We hardly ever fly below 55 in the fall because it seems cold. But after you go through the winter, a spring day seems warm at 45.
Yeah. Yep. Turns into t-shirt weather real quick.
Yeah. It was real nice here today. It was only 28 degrees, but the sun was shining, and I was just in a light windbreaker jacket for the day. But your blood gets thick or something, you're able to start taking the cold better or something.
Yeah, something. Yep.
But Mike probably remembers those days.
Trying to forget.
How many people are linked up right now, Rusty?
I'll have to go over there and look. My counter is still not working. Hang on, and I'll tell you because I kind of want to know myself. Looks like 10 watching now. We got 10 people watching.
Huh. Can you tell where they are?
No. They're on YouTube. That's about all I can tell. But no, they're scattered about around the world. I don't see anybody that claims to be outside of the contiguous United States yet, but maybe we will. We got Chris from the United Kingdom on here. I think for the past 2 shows he's popped in and typed on YouTube a little bit, and so like getting people like that. That Western Europe is a tough time of day because it's 6 hours later for them than it is for me right here on the East Coast, and even farther away than that for y'all. So
it's like way past midnight for them, huh?
It's well, I'm at GMT -5 on the East Coast, and so Chris said he was at -6, so it's 6 hours later where he was. So it's 4 o'clock in the morning there now. It was daylight in the morning by the time we signed off for him the other night. He hung with us the whole show, though.
Huh. Cool. Good for him. I guess he's about as bored as we are with this then. Sometimes.
Well, we got the YouTube guys checking in with their locations. So got Gary Sinclair in Ohio. We got Jeff Riley in Los Angeles, California. Jack Snavely in Concordia, Kansas. And
cool.
Yeah, we got a pretty good scattering going on out there.
So we got another Kansas contingent, huh?
Yep.
Far out. What'd you say his name
is? I talked about it the other night. I don't think he's too far from you.
What'd you say his name is?
Jeff. Well, no. Let's see. Jack Snavely.
In Kansas?
Yeah. I think you and he talked a few shows ago. Anyway.
Wasn't he wanted to know about the box car?
I don't remember.
Oh well. Yeah. Far out.
See, Sparky was going. There's top Brent Williams is from Utah. He just popped in on us. Sparky was going to a swap meet. Was that this weekend? He was going before he went home.
Yeah.
I hope he got some good stuff. Maybe he'll drop in and give us a show and tell.
Well, he posted something on Stunthangar I got this morning. I watched part of it. Where he's doping.
JP's in the District of Columbia. Not sure who JP is. Obviously, one of our Stunthangar brothers. Gerald Wimmer from New Zealand.
All right.
It's 4 p.m. right now. Actually, it's 4 p.m. tomorrow right now, and the weather is nice. In fact, he might run outside to fly some combat models with Otto right now. So maybe they get through flying. If we're still on, they'll come in and join us. He can go right out the back door and fly combat models.
Man, this magnetic building board is turning out to be pretty darn cool.
That's good.
It works really neat. Really neat.
Did you make it up yourself, or did?
No, it's a Great Plains unit. I can, if here. Let's see if it'll turn around here and see. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Let me click on it. Yeah, hang on. I got to click on it so we can see. There we go. Yeah, you said those are 1/4 inch small squares, right?
Yep. And magic magnet building board. Yep. And the large divisions are 2 inches. These are the big ones are 2 inches. So it works out. These neat little things to hold part.
Do they still sell them, or is that one of the stuff that's gone now?
This is kind of on loan for figuring out how to use it from this guy. And
Hey, we got T-Bone Tom from Flemington, New Jersey now. He just popped in. Hey, Tom. Good to see you, T-Bone.
hey, Tom.
Oh, yeah, Jack Snavely says, yeah, he was asking about the Boxcar Chief the other day, and you gave him the location of the Wichita flying circles.
Oh, good. Yeah. We got a beautiful facility here. It's just a fantastic location, and it's dedicated. That's all that field is. All that place is for control line, and doesn't have soccer posts in it. Doesn't have football goals. You know, it is a control line spot. Has the 2 big paved circles and then the 3 pilot circles out there in the grass, concrete.
I got detoured by a bank robbery traffic jam the other day and ended up having to drive past my old junior high school. Well, that's what they called it back then, middle school now, where my flying field as a kid was, and looked down there to see where I used to fly. It was a baseball field, and damn if it wasn't a soccer field now. It's a soccer field and a couple of tennis courts.
Yeah.
Shit, man, it's disappointing.
No, we're pretty lucky to have the city provide this facility for us, and it's been here since early 80s, late 70s, because one of the club members was instrumental in getting this allocated to us, and he passed away last year, and he was a great guy, Mike Tallman. But thanks to him, we've got a fantastic location.
We've got a good location in Huntersville. It was off away from the city and development. It's built on an old waste dump, actually, but it's smoothed over and leveled, and we got 3 paved circles, or 2 paved circles and a grass circle, and then when we have contests and the remote control guys are out of there, we've got a combat area, a carrier area, and a practice area that's paved partially. So that's pretty good. But now that we're getting high-end, expensive houses built back right behind us, we're kind of worried about how long it's going to last for us. And, you know, we always used to be able to justify what we were doing by how much money we bring into the little town of Huntersville with our contests, and it was considerable. But now that the big tax base from the new developments are coming in and it's turning into a modern little city, that doesn't put a drop in the thimble anymore. And so, you know, we're hanging on as long as we can, but hope that
Wichita, the Radio Control Club field put on a former landfill that's been capped and leveled, and there has a 400-foot paved runway and nice pit area and parking.
I'm on the computer talking to these guys.
Yeah, and then there's another one that the county provides for us at Lake Afton, and that's another 400-foot runway. They're both at least 25 or 30, 40 feet wide. So, you know, that's not a small undertaking to have something dedicated like that to you know, modelers. And you know, we're pretty lucky that the air capital of the world is actually providing something for people who enjoy airplanes. You know, got to do it. More quarter-inch sticks.
I got to start every day this week. I need to remind myself to do some dry flying right here in the house and get my clockwise turning and counterclockwise turning back to where I don't get dizzy. It's been so long since I flew, because I'm planning on flying Saturday, and I don't want to fall on my ass out there at Watt's house.
Get video, please.
I don't have a problem with getting dizzy. I guess I'm just lucky, but I can turn around in the circle and not have it be a problem. And, you know, inverted isn't a problem either.
When I went out in August, I flew and didn't get dizzy at all, except when I fly backwards, I tend to start feeling it after 6 or 8 laps. And so it's been so long, I want to just make sure, because you know, I hadn't been doing anything to maintain my balance and all that kind of. Just got to test.
You're close, because if neighbors see you running around in circles in your house, they'll call the fire department or something.
Nobody's going to see me, unless I trip over a coffee table and bust my head into the TV screen or something like that.
Yep. But, you know, that's one of the biggest excuses of people not flying, not taking advantage of the invitation to fly control line. They say, "Oh, I get dizzy."
Yeah.
You know, I'm like,
people can tolerate it better than others, but I think unless something's wrong with your inner ear and your balance, I think all you need to do is do it a few times and the dizzies go right away. I mean, they clear up.
I think they're just chicken, you know, because they say, "Oh, I did that when I was a kid." Well, come back and do it again now.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll get dizzy. Well,
and there's lots of old guys that look a hell of a lot more feeble than me that get out there and do it and fly some pretty good patterns.
Yep, Lou Ward did it till he was 92. He flew last flight at Tulsa in 2017, I think. He was 92. We had to help him to the center of the circle and back and stuff, but shoot, he flew the whole pattern. He's a trooper, man. Wish we still had him.
Yeah, I figure when contest season comes, if the worst case, I might have to get somebody to help carry my junk around, my flight box and that kind of stuff, but I think I'll be all right by then.
Oh, that junk. I thought you were going to be bragging there for a minute.
Yeah, I have to put my balls in a wheelbarrow and haul them out there.
Yeah,
Mike, you headed down to Georgia for that swap meet?
For Perry?
Fuck, I don't know where's that.
Yeah. I might. I went, Sam and I went 2 years ago, I think. And I found a lot of good shit there, believe it or not. But it's still like 6.5 hour drive for me. It's a long,
dang,
for a swap meet.
you must be out where there's nothing, man. Everything's hours away for it.
Well, I ran into Dave Wenzel at that swap meet and Randy Smith. They were both there. And I got some deals on some engines, and we got some needle valves, and it was worth the trip. There was a guy, I bought a dozen brand new OS 1A number 15 needle valves, which are the needle valves that screw into the carburetors for the old FP40s and the RC motors. But it's what we make remote needle valves out of for combat, for running on a bike.
Yep.
A dozen of them for like $40. And, you know, hell, they were $15 a piece when Tower sold them. So that was a good score. That set me up for life. And I picked up 2 Thunder Type Pro 36s for $5 a piece that were in a guy's junk bin. And all I had to do was get Venturis and needles from Randy Smith, and got a couple of good running Thunder Tigers out of the deal.
Yeah, we got a guy. We're putting in our orders. I don't know if anybody wants anybody to look for anything, but Al Warstaff from Kalamazoo, Michigan, he's headed down, and I guess he's going to go there instead of Toledo.
Well, I'll tell you, Steve, I've been to both shows, and I was in Perry 2 years ago. The last Toledo show I hit was probably 2002, but Perry is much smaller than Toledo because you don't have the manufacturers there. You know, Toledo, you get all the manufacturers with their booths and stuff. Perry, Georgia doesn't have that. I mean, yeah, they got over 100 tables, 150 tables, I think, at the swap meet, but you don't have the dealers there, which Toledo you do. You know.
Yeah, that's what Al said, that it was like Toledo used to be back in the 80s, 70s, and 80s, where you had more tables than you did dealers.
Yeah. I mean, it's all going to depend on the weekend and what's going on, whether I feel like burning $200 in gas driving down there and back. Because I mean, that's what it'll take me. You know, it'll be 3 tanks of gas there and back. So, I mean, you know, $1 propeller, $5 $20 engine. That's appealing, but when you count $200 worth of gas to get there, you're not really saving any money. You know?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I'm going to go to Toledo this year. They're saying it's probably the last year for it. So,
buddy.
Well, we have a local swap meet coming up first or second week of March in Murfreesboro, and it's pretty decent. They get about 75 tables there, and I don't mind. You know, it's like 30 minutes away, but I'll drive to swap meets that are within an hour of Nashville, the RC clubs all around Nashville, because I don't mind digging through guys' boxes and junk bins and stuff like that, man. I find all kinds of stuff just by digging. You know? I haven't bought a combat propeller in 3 or 4 years because I buy all my combat props at swap meets, man. Or, you know, they go 4 for $1 sometimes if you're willing to dig.
What are the prop sizes for your combat planes?
Well, for the 25s, it's anywhere from a 8.4, 8.5, 8.6. And then for my 40s, I run 9.4, 9.5, 9.6.
I've got a huge bag. I got a huge bag full of 8-inch high pitch props.
No, I don't run anything high pitch. 4, 5, 6 pitch for both motors.
Huh?
What sizes are those?
8.8. 8.8.
That's more for a Fox. Back when they did Fox 35s on combat. I can't think of what they called that.
Yeah, the racing guy, those two, the pylon, but not Woody.
Yeah, it was from the auction, and I was bidding on a bag of propellers, and when it got shuffled through the system, I ended up with the wrong batch.
Oh no!
So I was a little bit disappointed.
Yeah.
Imagine, because that's not a type of propeller I use.
Are they rev up stuff?
Yeah.
You can sell them on eBay. How many of them you got?
Well, probably 25 or 30.
You probably fetch $2 a piece for them on eBay.
Yeah.
I mean, what'd you pay for the whole bag?
Oh, I don't know. Not much, because it was an auction.
I'm sure you could get $50 for that bag on eBay.
Guys
pay
cool.
$2 a piece for them, especially if they're rev ups, man. You can't buy them anymore.
Yeah, they are. Cool. Well, that's good to know. Thanks, Mike. Because I'm not going to use them. Somebody needs to use them.
Too much pitch for anything I would do.
We got Chris Perkins just came in and joined us. I think that's our UK connection, right? Chris, are you our Chris from the UK?
I'll be back in a minute.
Okay.
I'm gonna go add these to Sam's project board.
Huh. Oh, project board, the electronic thing.
Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, Chris, that's our Chris from the UK. Welcome, Chris. Glad you could stay up into the wee hours of the morning to join us.
Yay, Chris. Can you hear it?
Just 4:20 in the morning over there.
Yeah, dang. 4:20?
That's where Chris is.
He's probably getting up to go to work.
Oh, yeah, that.
Yeah, by the time we sign off, it's broad daylight where he is.
Well, cool. That's good. We got a international.
Yeah, we get some international visitors, but the trouble with Western Europe is and the UK is that it's just the time of day where everybody's sound asleep.
Yeah. Well, at least they make an effort, some of them make an effort. That's
yeah,
cool.
You'd be surprised how many phone calls you get from the United States over there in the middle of the night.
I remember you telling us that when you were in France. Yeah.
Oh my God.
3:20. Let's see. 1, 2, 3. So okay, he's 5 hours later than me. I was thinking he was 6. It might be daylight savings time that was confusing me with 1 hour's difference too.
It was 6 where we were at. It was 6 hours, but I don't know where Greenwich Mean Time comes, and
that's
where we were at.
I don't know. It's pretty close to where you were, but I don't know where the meridian is.
The street, there's one of the streets here in Wichita that is called Meridian. And
one time on one side and an hour later on the other side?
Nope. It's just called Meridian. And the reason is because it is actually the 6th principal meridian.
What's a principal meridian?
I don't know. It runs up and down, north and south.
Yeah, I think you're right, Rusty. It's one time on one side of it and one time on the other side of it.
Not here in Wichita. We're all on the same
Yeah,
side.
take the
There's one
time.
little
They
county
divide time.
out in way western Kansas that subscribe to the daylight savings time, so they're on mountain time or something. But here in Wichita, that sixth principal meridian is just why that street is named Meridian.
Yeah. And for daylight savings time, they don't always follow the meridians exactly. They divide it up and curve it out of convenience. Just half a town's not divided, that sort of thing.
Yeah, there's one county in western Kansas, like I said.
I heard they're trying to get rid of the daylight savings time thing.
I hope not. I wish it stayed daylight savings time all the time.
You get all the farmers and stuff that want the light in the morning when they're up working their animals and stuff like that. And then you got other people want light once they get out of work, so they can play.
I just like for it to be daylight like it is in the summer all year long. You know, with long daylight, man. So,
Yeah.
you know, that would take turn the earth a little bit funny, I think.
Probably,
when we were in France there, it was hard to believe that even at nighttime there was like a glow in the sky. It never did really get dark. It got dark, but yet there was like you could tell that you were really far north.
You want to go outside, buddy? Huh? You want to go outside, Mr. Rusty?
Did he call that dog Mr. Rusty?
I think he said buddy, but I'm not.
I thought he said Mr. Rusty one time.
Maybe he did. So yeah, you guys should be getting some really good weather down there here pretty quick.
Yeah, pretty soon. It teases us for the next month and a half or 2 months, and has good weather some days, and has terrible weather other days. So we kind of have to just live with it until May is when it becomes predictably nice, pretty much.
Oh, okay.
Jack Snavely says he's a half a block from the meridian and 2 blocks from the parallel line that runs east and west. So he's at almost an intersection.
Oh, okay.
What do you call the longitude? What do you call the latitudinal lines? Longitudinal lines are meridians. What do you call the latitude lines? I don't know.
I'm not 100% sure.
Meridian. There's the prime meridian, which is 00.
I think they just call it a parallel. I don't know. Yeah, the prime meridian 00.
I'd never heard. I just, and I was in the Navy, man. I should know this shit because I worked in the combat information center and we had charts and stuff up there.
Did you have to write on the glass backwards?
I did. I worked in the CIC. We're on the glass backwards. That's what we did. And we did the navigation. We did the comms, talking to the other ships. We had a layout, the Dead Reckoning tracer that showed where we went and how we went and distance to other ships, closing speeds and closest point of approach. Man, that's reaching way back. That's a long course.
Oh, yeah. Man, that's some high pressure shit working in that part of the ship. Well, any part of the ship, high pressure, I guess. But
so, did you cross the international date line?
I did not cross the international date line.
Okay, my dad talked about that. He said that I guess the first time you cross, it's kind of like a thing.
Well, let me stop you right there. Back you up. You asked if I crossed the international date line. That's a negative. I did cross the equator, which is the story you're getting ready to tell about crossing the equator and becoming a shellback. I have done that. The international date line is a longitude
Right.
zero.
That's what my dad said. On their way to when he was on his way to Japan or wherever they were going there, and they crossed the international date line. They called everybody up on board, you know, on the deck, and he said that they could make like the ensigns and all that kind of the officers polish their shoes and all kinds of stuff, and
Oh well, that's okay. That's a different ceremony then. I'm not aware of that ceremony. I thought you were alluding to the polywog becoming a shellback initiation, where you have all the guys that have done it before dress up like pirates, and they cut off pieces of fire hose about 3 feet long, and they basically get to beat the shit out of anybody who hasn't crossed the equator yet.
Oh, boys.
Polywog if you have not crossed the equator. You're a shellback if you have crossed the equator. So the first time you go through it, you're on your hands and knees all day getting whipped by these shillelaghs, eating all kinds of nasty stuff, and they basically abuse you for a full day. And they save all the garbage for like 6 days, and they build this big bathtub out on the fantail and fill it full of garbage, and they make you crawl through it. And at the end, you become a shellback. They keep beating you all day long, asking you what you are, and you say, I'm a wog, I'm a wog, I'm a polywog, I'm a polywog. Yes, sir, no, sir. And they'll have a guy dressed up like Davy Jones. They'll have also Neptunus Rex with his trident. And then they'll take the biggest, fattest, hairiest guy on the ship, and he's the royal baby. And they dress him up in a diaper and put him in a throne. And he's got a big bowl of cherries sitting next to him, and he rubs his belly full of butter and puts a cherry in his belly button. And you got to come hit the fat man's belly and eat the cherry out of this big hairy boiler. It's really
what country originated that, Mike? Where's that tradition from?
It's an old sailing tradition, man. It goes back, I don't know where it started, but if you cross the equator on any naval ship, you're going to go through that ceremony. You know, I'm sure these days you can,
refuse.
Trying to word this the right way for the political climate that we're in today, but I'm sure it's not politically correct today to force sailors to go through it. So I'm sure you can opt out of it if you want, and they'll probably still.
I think that's called hazing.
They'll still give them their damn shellback card because everybody gets a trophy now. But in my day, you had to put in the work and you had to deal with all that stuff if you wanted to become a shellback. So then the upside is on your next cruise across the equator, you get to be a pirate. You get to be a shellback and beat the hell out of the other guys that haven't done it before.
Yeah, I think they call that hazing these days.
Yeah, so you get a certificate that says you crossed the equator and you're a shellback, and you get a card and all this. I actually have my grandfather's shellback card from World War II. Now, my card said the latitude and longitude of where we crossed the equator and the date and all that, and there's all this, Old English fancy scroll writing on it. My grandfather's shellback card from World War II, he was a 20 millimeter machine gunner on a merchant marine ship, and instead of stating where he was, it says on a secret mission of war, Samuel McGann crossed the equator and is bestowed all the rights and honors and privileges and blah blah blah. But they didn't actually put the latitude and longitude of where he crossed the equator. It said on a secret mission of war, which I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah.
So, have any of you guys heard of shellback whiskey? Have any of you seen that?
Never.
Yeah, if you're not a drinker, you probably wouldn't know it. But there's a whiskey that came out. It was 4 or 5 years ago. It was called Shellback Whiskey. And I was in a bar in East Nashville, and they had, how they have girls always running around promoting stuff. They'll have sexy girls in bikinis coming around when they got new products like that. So they're walking around a bar asking if anybody wanted to try the shellback whiskey, and I was like, yeah, I'm a shellback. I'll try it. And boy, you'd have thought I told them I was the king of Siam when I said I was an actual shellback. They were like, you're a real shellback? You crossed the equator? You really did all that stuff? And I had to spend like the next hour explaining the whole shellback initiation to them. But I didn't mind because they were giving me shots of shellback whiskey the whole time they were doing it. Plus, they hooked me up with a bunch of swag. I got T-shirts and hats and sunglasses and beer mugs, and they loaded me and my buddies up with all kinds of stuff because they had never met an actual shellback who crossed the equator. So.
Yeah, I don't think my dad ever crossed the equator.
Okay.
Yeah, mine did. He was stationed in Hawaii.
I'm not familiar with the international Dateline one. The only other one I'm familiar with besides shellback is called the Blue Nose. And that's when you cross above the Arctic Circle,
Yeah.
which I think is 45 degrees or something like that. I don't quote me on that, but they have a ceremony for the Blue Nose as well. And I think that involves running around in your skivvies and getting shot with a fire hose up there in the freaking Arctic Ocean, which doesn't sound much fun.
Yeah, the Arctic Circle is 75 degrees, I believe.
Yeah, that sounds more correct. 75 degrees. It's
Yeah.
the Arctic Circle. You got to go north of the Arctic Circle on an.
Yeah. 45 might be the Tropic of either Cancer or Capricorn.
Hawaii isn't below the equator, is it?
What is?
Hawaii? No. Hawaii is not below the equator. Hawaii is about 25 degrees east of the prime meridian, and it is about 25 degrees north of the equator.
You got a globe there, Russ?
Yeah.
Man, you ought to sell that thing on eBay. That's an antique, man. I bet you can get $500 for that thing.
Yeah. It's not an antique. It's just an old sepia colored globe. And when Al was little, he used to like how fast he could spin it.
Cool. Woo.
That's a nice one.
Hey, Doug, what's that airplane on the ground behind that globe?
The brown
one to TLC.
This one?
Yeah, you got to move your camera slower, though, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't have as good a video as you did the other night.
Yeah, I'm on the other thing. Is it this one you were asking about?
Yeah.
That's the original 2 for the show.
Oh, okay. That's the original. Right on.
Yeah. 2 for the show Fokker.
Okay.
And that's what I'm building here. Is a 2019 version of it.
Well, that was a whole lot prettier.
Excellent.
Yeah, it's a nice looking wing.
Yeah, it's fun. That magnetic building board is great. I don't know how to get them anymore. This just landed in my lap. I'm trying it out for a guy.
Yeah. Hey, Steve, do you have your dad's certificate or card or anything when you went through that ceremony?
I don't know. I'd have to ask my mom. I didn't know you even got a card.
Yeah, they give you a certificate and a card usually anytime you participate in any of that kind of stuff. Now, it would say in his service record, it would probably say that he did that because mine does.
Oh, okay.
You know, because it's an award that you receive through your service, so it would be documented there. But the actual certificate with the word, you know, they changed from ship to ship and service to service. But anybody who's on the ship when you make the crossing can do it if they're willing to participate. We had a bunch of Coast Guard guys on my ship because we did a lot of law enforcement ops. We did drug interdiction, quite a bit of drug interdiction. So we had a Coast Guard detachment on my ship, and they participated in and received the award as well. Even though they weren't in the Navy, they're on the boat, so they got to participate.
Well, my dad was talking. I took it. Everybody had to participate back then. But
you didn't say no, man. Even in '85, when I did it, you wouldn't say no. You know.
because he would have probably done it in 1949
Okay.
during the Korean War, and he was saying that some ensign was bitching about and threatening the guys he would get back at him, and the captain found out, and the captain laid a whole bunch of other stuff on him to do and let guys.
I believe it.
Stuff like that.
That's the case, man. Like an enlisted man that's a shellback, he can make an officer grovel.
Yeah.
You know, the officers still got to kiss the fat man's belly. They still got to, you know, take their whippings with the shillelagh and crawl through. Just because they're officers, they don't get it any lighter than an enlisted man, and they can't hold retribution against an enlisted man that, you know, mess with them a little too hard. I'm telling you, those guys beat us with those fire hoses, man.
Yeah,
You
well,
know,
my dad
say
said
that,
officer, that was like really a badge of
a badge of honor, I guess.
Yeah, of honor.
Absolutely.
Because they groveled to the enlisted guys. You know, it was like, you know, and then once they did that, they said that it made him more of an officer over the guys, you know.
Yeah. Mike, you know, when you said shillelagh, that makes me think it was an Irish or Scottish thing.
Well, that's just what they called them. They took like a 3-foot section of fire hose, and then they wrapped the end in duct tape for a handle, and that's what they would do.
Yeah.
They just pummel you with this. I mean, not in your face, but you know,
yeah, but it's
because you're crawling on your hands and knees all day, so they'd be whacking you on your ass with it all day long.
Yeah, I think
I'd be surprised to see what a shellback initiation looked like today with the political climate.
Probably use little foam paddles
and the hazing and all that stuff. But it's a worthwhile tradition, and I say beat the hell out of them people that haven't gone across.
Yeah, I mean, you know, more likely though they didn't endanger their lives. That's
no, nobody's life in danger, man. No, you know
that's with the hazing. It used to be fun and you know stuff like that, but people got to get carried away, and then people die.
Yeah, no, nobody's dying, man. You had to crawl through some garbage. They might make you drink a cup of hot sauce, Tabasco sauce or something.
Yeah.
You know, they whip you on the ass a little bit with the shillelagh. And somebody got, you know, if somebody had a beef with you and they were a shellback, yeah, they'd hit you a little bit harder than everybody else. But you didn't dare quit or say I want to stop or enough or you know or turn somebody in for it. You just did it, man, because the punishment for quitting or making a big deal out of it was worse than what you got to live with these guys on the boat, man, for however many years, you know. So, anywho. All right, enough about that crap. Let's talk about some airplanes. We got pretty diverted there. Sorry.
I don't think
fun information.
Branch of the service you were in, Mike.
Well, let's see. I crossed the equator on a ship, so I don't think I was a grunt in the Army.
Navy or Marine?
Yeah, I was in the Navy.
Okay. Yeah, you could have been a Marine. I don't know if they make the Marines go through the same thing or not.
The Marines do it too. Absolutely, man. They do it. Absolutely.
My nephew was a Marine, and he was somewhere on a ship, and he said or helicopters or airplanes or something that the Navy used, and he said that Marines stand for my ass rides in Navy equipment.
Yeah. We always give them fellers a ride, man, wherever they're going, right?
Yeah, that's you know, that's what he said.
Y'all ever watch that show called SEAL Team?
Nah.
I've seen it. I haven't watched it.
I like that. That's one of my favorites. And they drop those guys into some hot shit. Anyway, airplanes.
Airplanes, yes. I'm sorry for that big diversion, man.
That's okay. It was an enjoyable diversion. I like to hear about that stuff. When I signed up, when I registered for the draft, didn't get to go because of medical. But hey, I guess that was better than getting shot at, because it was still firefighting going on when I registered for the draft.
I signed up for the drafts. Even though I was going in the military, I still signed up for it. I knew I was going, but my mom took me down there, and I didn't have any problem with it.
I went down there with my best friend, and we both signed up.
Is it still? Do you still have to sign up?
No.
No. When did
Nope.
they stop that?
I think they stopped that back in the I don't know, it's the 80s. It seems like in the 80s that's when they stopped it.
They stopped it in 76 because I graduated. I turned 18 in 77, and I didn't have to register for the draft. And then they started it back up in the 80s, and I didn't have to sign up because I was too old.
I because that's the year I turned 18. So I remember my mom taking me to the post office to do it in Detroit.
In 85?
Yeah. In 85, 1985. Yes, sir.
Yeah, my brother now, because my brother's 3 years younger than me, he had to register for the draft, but I didn't have to because it stopped at the it started at 60 and older, or 60, 61, whatever. You had to register again. But I was born in 59, so I missed out a year on both sides of that. All my friends and stuff that were born in 60 that were a little bit younger than me, they all had to register. I don't know, are they still registering for the draft these days?
I got a couple of fine thread needle valves for my Norvell engines in the mail on the way. So I'll have an engine to put in that Hyper Viper.
Where'd you get
you know, Hyper Viper?
I couldn't hear you. There was too much noise. Say it again.
Where'd you get the needle valve?
You have Hyper Viper, Rusty?
I'm going to guess at what you said. It was somebody from Cox Engine Forum got some extra ones and sent me a couple of them.
Which ones? The 128 postage
Yeah,
stamp?
128. The spray bars.
Well, I'll be looking for those at the swap meet, man. Sometimes you find old busted up Cox backplates and stuff in boxes,
Yeah, because they don't look like they're worth shit, but they've got that spray. If they got that spray bar in them, snatch them up.
Yeah. Yep.
In the Hyper Viper.
Oh, it was just a product engine with a horseshoe backplate.
Product engine with a choke on it. Yeah.
I think those needle valves are like 80 threads or something like that. They're no good.
Yeah.
I seen one just one time, one fly, and that was a good flying Cox airplane.
Which one?
The Hyper Viper.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
I've seen one fly on YouTube. That's the only one I've ever actually seen fly.
Mine does pretty good.
It flew good.
Yeah, I think John Paris has it.
I think this little wooden one that Greg Rodney made is going to be a nice flying plane.
Yeah. Yeah.
Engine in it. Yeah.
I'm eager to get mine.
Yeah, because I was wondering about that thing for Brodak. If somebody came up with a Hyper Viper and flew it at Brodak.
The wood one. The original one or the wood one?
The original one with the foam wings and stuff.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I have.
If you can get it run long enough, maybe.
Didn't catch that.
I said that'll fly the whole pattern.
If you got enough gas.
Yeah.
That's the thing is, get a big enough tank for it and see how far it'll go.
I think mine needs leaned out or TD wedged in there somehow to actually make it go to the limit.
I was working on putting a TD in my PT-19. I think I got it fit.
That'd be all right.
Has anyone ever flown the Medallion 49?
Yeah. I used to fly. I used to fly one on my little jumping bean.
I flew them on the Sterling profile kits, like the B-51 and the Zero and that kind of stuff.
Because I heard that was the best engine for stunt or whatever out of all the cocks.
No, the Golden Bee. The Golden Bee, I think, was the best with the stunt tank on it. The Medallion didn't have a stunt tank.
What? You got to have a TD for that business, man.
For stunt, a Medallion's a good stunt engine if you got a good tank on it.
Yeah, that's what I heard. You put a tank, a little metal tank.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll show people something here. I don't know if anybody needs any of these or not. Hold on a second.
With all of my TVs, I put bladders on them because they don't draw very well on suction.
Yeah, I need them, Steve. Just box them up and ship them to me. I don't know what it is, but I need them.
I can't see his picture. Mine doesn't show up for him.
When you click on his film strip picture?
Yep, doesn't show up. I got an S, and then it says Steve there also. Got a different click.
Is it surrounded by a white border when you click on it?
Yep.
I got him.
I got him full screen.
Can you see?
I got an S.
Perfect tanks.
I bought all of them for $10. Just
Let me give you my address, Steve.
Doug, are you clicking with the left button or the right button?
I have a different kind of thing. It's like a tablet.
No telling. I wish I could help you.
You come in, Mike comes in, I can see me, but Steve is a black box. And a circle with an S in it.
What do they use rectangular tanks for?
Profile.
RC, I guess.
Got a box of those too, Steve. I got a deal on a whole bunch of those, like half-ounce, three-quarter ounce.
Yeah, I got a drawer full of those little teeny tanks.
I'll tell you Steve, they do sell for like between $4 and $6 a piece on eBay.
Oh, do they really?
Yeah, and I wouldn't list them as a lot. I would list them individually, and you'd probably make a ton of money off of them.
Yeah, the hobby shop here sells them for, like Mike said, about $4 to $6. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I got like 1, 2, 3, 4 of quarter-ounce wedges.
Free flight guys, older free flight guys would have used them, not now.
Yeah, I don't know how much, 049 a quarter ounce. I don't know how far that.
Well, no, that's for like an 020.
Oh, okay. And then I got 4 of the half-ounce rectangular. And then there's that, it's not like I'm ever going to use them. I just bought them because I got them 1 1/3 wedge, a 1/3 ounce wedge, 1 ounce wedge.
Oh, 1 ounce wedge? That'd be a sweet one. That'd be a good one.
And then 2 4 ounce wedge tanks.
2 4 ounce?
I'd throw them up on eBay for $5 a piece, man. You'll sell every one of them. Do $5 free shipping.
Yeah, you scored.
Yeah,
scored.
I don't use those standard vent tanks anymore on anything, man. I put Uniflows on everything I have. So.
The plastic ones?
No, metal. Metal Uniflow.
Yeah, Prodac sells metal Uniflow tanks.
Yeah, I got some of those, yeah.
So I just thought it was kind of cool, that he was getting rid of all of this control line stuff. And
well, you can build yourself a bunch of half A's, Steve. I guess you got to build about 15 half A airplanes.
Yeah, if you really want to get rid of them, build some free flight planes and fill them up. Let them go.
Yeah, never see him again.
That's an idea. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know when the things were made, you know, but I see like $2.50 on them and $1.60, $1.75.
Yeah, they're probably from the 70s.
Oh, okay.
Maybe 60s. But those kind of prices, though, I would think more in line with the 70s, you know. Because some of the small perfect tanks I have, and I've still got some in the box that just quarter ounce, half ounce, 3/4 ounce, and the price is like 49 cents, 79 cents, 89 cents.
Wow, those are old.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I got that from them, and I bought an expansion chamber from OS for a 60. Now, if anybody remembers them back in the early 80s, they were anodized blue. It's such a pretty pipe. I don't know what I'd use it on, but I just bought it because it's anodized blue.
Mm.
Well, that's cool.
And then the Hanno Pretner one at the time was anodized red.
Yeah, that'd be a sweet job right
So
there.
if I got
Yeah.
one of them, that'd be worth a lot of money.
Yep. If I had a lot of money and you were selling it, I'd be a customer.
Yeah, that's back in the 80s with all that stuff when they changed to that long stroke 60 or whatever. They went with a Hanno.
Yep. I've got that Hanno engine, except it's not the Hanno version. It's the same exact engine, but it's not the Hanno one.
I have it too. I think I got yeah, I just have the one in the rear exhaust, and I got two in the side exhaust. But yeah,
Yep.
none of them have the red anodized head on it. Yeah, that makes it from a $200 and some motor to a $800 motor. It's got that red head.
Isn't that crazy?
We lost the video for a minute there, Mike.
Yeah, I know. I was checking something. I was looking at it now. My phone was dinging. I don't know if you could hear it or not, but
no, I didn't notice.
Okay. Well, I see there's PAs on.
Freezing up. And
saw another PA 75 listed the other day, and PA 40 as well. They're just falling out of the sky now.
Yeah, you were pretty hard to find that first one, and then now you're up to your ears in them if you want them, right?
Yeah. Well, not that I don't want them, I just can't afford to buy anymore.
Well, I'll tell you what, if I ever get one and I go to sell it, the bottom will fall out of the market. You won't be able to get it then.
That's how it works.
Is that how it goes with you, Steve?
Shit, I swear to God, it's like back in the day when I bought a Fiero. I had a guy offer me $3,000 over the damn sticker price on it, and I didn't. But I wanted that Fiero. I had it for a little over a year. There were so many problems with it, I had to give it away.
Oh.
You know, basically, I traded it in on a pickup truck and took about a $3,000 bath on it just to get rid of it.
Was that a Pontiac?
Pontiac Fiero, rear engine drive.
What kind of engine was it? Was it a boxer engine?
No, it was they called it the Iron Duke. It was a straight four that went crossways in the back of the car. Yeah. It was the best driving car I've ever driven. You could, and even my brother said you could ride in that thing for 10 hours and you wouldn't get tired. The seats were so comfortable. But it went through clutches and slave units about once every 3 months. First put into the slave unit, and a clutch to the slave unit.
My best friend in high school, he was actually the drummer in the band I was in. He was killed in one of those cars, man, in a Fiero. When I guess we were 16 or 17 years old. He was driving with some girl, had just got the car. She got it for her 17th birthday or something like that. Took Freddie for a ride, lost control, hit a telephone pole, and the car broke in half and killed him, and she lived.
I knew a girl that got into a bad wreck in the Fiero one time too. She got T-boned in an intersection downtown, I believe.
When I was working on wheelchairs, one of the customers I had a rolled a Fiero coming onto an on-ramp to the highway and ended up being a high-level quad.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I got in an accident with it. It was really weird because the light turned green, and I went through, and I was probably only doing 25 miles an hour. A big old Ford LTD made a left-hand turn in front of me, and I hit it broadside. When the race was over, I was at the white line at the light. It bounced me backwards.
You bounced off the car?
It bounced off the car and stopped. And what was crazy is that it totaled the LTD. It couldn't drive it. It bent it. When the cop got there and stuff, he's like, "You hit her." And I'm like, "Yeah." He said, "How did you hit her with that car? There's no damage on your car." And the only thing it did was put like little teeny cracks in the rubber because it had the rubber bumper and the rubber fenders and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And they just come back to shape. But it did. Once they took it apart and fixed it, it did like $4,000 damage on the car because all the steel stuff under the rubber was all crushed, but the rubber just bounced back into shape.
Could have been hidden damage, or it was hidden damage.
Yeah, but yeah, it was I thought a cool car, really, to where you wouldn't ever get no rust on it, but you could see anyway. We're in Michigan.
Now that everybody drives SUVs, you're taking your life into your hands when you take a little tiny car out like that.
Oh, yeah. Rusty, you been out in the shop since Friday? Did you get out there this weekend?
Walked out there on Saturday, and Sunday was cold and wet and windy, so I didn't do much. I picked up the broom and just messed around a little bit. Didn't actually glue anything though, but at least I went out there.
Yeah.
Pretty good shape.
When our power went out,
I got pretty much everything where it belongs now, and so it's waiting for some good weather.
I emptied my freezer out and stuff when I lost power, so I could keep everything cold. And I found a damn 2-ounce bottle of CA glue. I forgot I had the freezer. I'm like, damn.
Cool.
I knew I bought one. I looked for it, couldn't find it. Ended up buying another bottle. I forgot I stuck it in the freezer.
Now, is the freezer really good for them, or just the refrigerator good enough?
It depends on how long you want to save it. But
does it freeze or does it stay liquid?
It stays liquid. But what I've done is stick like gap filling in the refrigerator.
Yeah.
And you can make it. It takes twice as long to kick. If you're doing a big, like.
Oh, I see. Yeah, you got a lot of area to cover.
Right. The last time I did the stab, it was a sheeted stab. So I stuck it in the refrigerator overnight, and then you can take and put it on all your framework and set the piece down on it and weight it down, and then it would finally kick.
That makes sense.
So that worked. It worked nice for that. Otherwise you got to use that really thick stuff.
Yeah, that's awful. I've never used that. Nope.
I end up using it and then always kicking it. And I found, I tried that and it works. So now I don't have to have the extra bottle of glue that I never hardly use, just for stuff like that. And I got a big area down with a CA down.
Hey, I went to Lowe's this weekend and I bought a can of tool dip for you can dip handles of pliers in it and coat them, that sort of thing. If any of y'all ever used any of that?
Yeah,
we did.
When you open it, do you have to know? I mean, do you have to have everything lined up and get the job done because the stuff's going to harden? Do you only get one shot at opening that can, or can you seal it up and put it in the refrigerator and expect to reuse it?
Yeah, it's like a tennis ball can with a little plastic lid, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah, put a piece of tin foil over the can and then put the lid on there. That should help keep it good.
Okay.
Mine hardened up, but it was like almost a year before I went back to use it again. And I didn't put it in the refrigerator or anything else. I just put the lid back on it.
Yeah. I'll seal it up and put it in the refrigerator. That might I'm going to do as much as I can with it the first time in case it thickens up.
I don't know if you ever seen that liquid electrical tape.
Yeah,
I have seen that. Yeah, I've never used it.
Now I had it, but I carried it in my van, and sometimes my van will get 100 and some degrees in there when the sun's beating on it in the summer, and it turned to a big hunk of rubber. But maybe you have to keep it in a.
How do you apply that? Does it come with a little brush that you put it on with?
Yeah, that works pretty good for waterproofing and stuff.
Yeah.
A lot of times I'd use it after I put a wire nut on. Then I would take that and then coat the inside.
Right.
Let
Yeah.
Down in there to seal it from water. Now they make some waterproof wire nuts, but I always did it that way.
Yeah. What part of the trade did you work in electrically?
Pardon me?
What commercial or residential or?
Oh, I do HVAC.
Oh, work. Yeah, I used to do that too.
So what it is that we can't put anything electrical in, but we can repair it.
Yeah,
our licenses are good to repair anything. We just can't originally wire stuff.
Yeah, yeah, we could set furnaces and run the copper and all the ductwork and the thermostat and all that jazz and the humidifier, but we couldn't put power and put gas line on it, but we couldn't hook the electrical to it and fire it off.
Yeah, we can pull wire and everything like that on the new stuff, which we don't very often. But an electrician actually has to make the final connections.
Yeah. I had a journeyman license for that. We had to have that around here. I don't know how you guys are.
Yeah.
But I was a HVAC journeyman for 10 years. And,
once they were done. Once they're done with it, we can take it back apart a minute later, do whatever we want, and wire it. And it's within the law. But I don't understand why we can't, make the final connections when it's brand new. But that's the law.
Me neither. Man, just talk about this stuff brings back memories of all the crap I used to do. I was a Ace wheelchair Gerbil medical equipment repairman here. I was a journeyman HVAC guy, aircraft inspection. I had my own business I was an IA. Man, crazy. I've done a lot of crap. I worked at Hardee's.
Yeah.
That's a hell of a transition from being an IA to being Hardee's employee.
I've ate at Hardy.
Well, that was like my first job, or second job, something. I washed dishes at a restaurant. I started.
So, how do you get to be an IA? Is that an FAA position?
Yeah, I guess you could say that. It's first you have to be an AMP for at least 3 years, and then you have to pass a oral and written and test, and prove that you're able to do what is required.
Yeah. And my flying buddy is or what he's retired now, was an FAA investigator.
Yeah.
So I don't know how closely the IAs and the investigators work with each other.
Well, if there's an incident or accident, the FAA inspector will come out and look at the logbooks of whoever signed off the airplane for the last thing. They'll go to the IA
and look at the service records and all that, right?
Yep. That was the biggest part of the job, really, was looking over the airplanes and being certain that they were in conformity.
Yeah.
And doing the paperwork, because I had guys working for me that were fantastic people. And so I could pretty much let them go, point out what we needed to do. And well, this guy was an F-105 mechanic in Vietnam.
Mm-hmm.
And then he worked in the factories around here at companies here. So he knew his craft in the first place. So.
The NTSB has a similar position too when it comes to investigating crashes and accidents, don't they?
Well, there's the National Transportation Safety Board. That's one of the folks that get called out when there is an accident or incident.
Yeah.
So they have to go. Yep, it's a big deal.
Yeah, I was watching Alaska air crashes, which there are a pretty good many of with those bush planes on TV, and it was always the NTSB that went out to the field and pull the engines out of them, and they'd take them back and you see if it was still running when it hit the ground, and do all of that part of the investigation. See what position controls were in. You
can pretty much tell if it was running or not when it boinked.
Yeah, they'd see what position the controls were in, that sort of thing.
Yeah, they really.
I've been watching that air disasters on TV, and how they find out what the hell happened on them things. I go through it.
Those inspectors, Steve, were probably mechanics at one point in their life. They, to gain knowledge about stuff like that, they probably were mechanics at one point.
Yeah, there was one that crashed that it was a changeover in shifts, and one guy took out a bunch of screws, and then they decided only to do one side and not the other. Nobody put him back in. And he didn't do his paperwork, and other ones didn't do paperwork, and the airplane I don't know, somehow blew off the leading edge of the stab and caused all kinds of problems because they were going there and expanded it. I don't know what all happened, but they lost the control surface. But yeah, they figured out that by going over records and finding it, how the rips were, that they could tell that there wasn't screws in some, part of them.
I saw one of those where they were like a shift change deal, and the guy put just slightly smaller screws in diameter than the ones that were required to be in there. They countersunk and whatever, and I think it was on a windscreen, around the perimeter of the windscreen, and you know, and then he took the original ones and put them in the trash can. And so when they did the investigation, they found that the screws were the wrong diameter, and that the ones that were removed were in the trash. And so, you know, it was just a, you know, it's too bad stuff like that happens.
Yeah, that's a pretty sad excuse for a mechanic. And some of the, you know, I think it's more common in the metrics, but a lot of the threads on a smaller diameter will fit and feel like they're screwing in okay, but when you tighten them down, they don't have near the bite that's required.
Well, guys, I'm going to get off here. It's after 11. Maybe I'll see you Friday.
All right, Steve, have a good week.
See ya.
All right.
Thanks. Man, I appreciate him. See, he's gone, huh? My puppy's leaning on my leg here. He wants to help some more. He's a good old boy.
We still got any YouTubers out there, Rusty?
Yeah, we got a bunch of YouTubers, as far as I can tell. They're posting a few things amongst themselves. I've typed back and forth a couple of messages with them, but nobody's asking any questions, or probably because we're not talking about airplanes much.
Got the wad, man. I've shown everything I've had here for the last couple of weeks. I got one new thing. I was kind of hoping Charles was going to get on with us because it's kind of related to the engine I bought from him.
Well, you can save it until Friday night. Maybe we'll get a better crowd in here. We've actually had a couple of good shows for, especially if it's new people.
What do you mean a better crowd? What are we, the smelly Walmart?
I mean,
people?
a bigger crowd.
Oh, okay.
Nothing wrong with you guys. I mean, damn, Mike brings enough to keep us entertained a lot of nights, and you know, so we can do with one or two some nights, but we need to just expand our viewership.
Okay, watch out. Here I come again.
I'll bust it out again on Friday if Charles joins us. But
okay, I'll click on you so everybody on the tube can see you. There you go. Oh, that's pretty.
The Tamigo
Nice paint.
Sport Jet is done.
That's beautiful paint, even on camera.
Glass coat epoxy paint, what it is. It's very shiny. Very shiny stuff.
Hey, Doug, you got something going on. You got two feeds.
Yeah, I'm trying to get.
I'm going to mute one. I'm going to mute you both until you get it straightened out.
Super.
Okay. I can hear you now, Mike.
Are we good?
Yeah.
Well, anyway, Tamigo Sport Jet. It's a 1960s Dynajet kit that I recently acquired. You guys probably saw it when it was in wood and again when it was in primer. Day before yesterday, and I did the final assembly on it this morning. Got the engine mounted and got the controls put in. Got the belt crank in there.
Nice.
She's ready to go. Ready to make fire. Ready to make noise.
I love the way that epoxy paint looks. That's nice and shiny. It looks wet almost.
It does look wet. I'm real happy with it, man. It's class coat.
Is it orange or red?
It's orange. So it's class coat, 2-part epoxy paint.
Is that just foil tape or is it real sheet metal or something on there?
No, that's foil tape. That's all that is. That's all you need. Because, I mean, the idea is you get it started and get it in the air.
Yeah, then it goes. Yep.
You got a good pit crew. Once they start, once it starts, you should be in the air in a second. You know, a second or two, no more than 2 seconds.
Now, what brand of jet is that, Mike?
What's that?
What brand of jet engine is that?
That's a Dynajet. That's an original Dynajet.
Okay.
Redhead. I bought it from Charles, actually.
That's
but
cool.
he got it from somebody else, and they turned down the cooling fins on it.
Oh yeah, that's what looks different on it. Okay.
Yeah, here I got them.
Yeah.
I know I've showed this before, but that's what an original
Yeah.
head looks
That's what I was looking
Why would
for.
somebody do that?
like. They've turned that down. I'm
Why
not
would
sure
they?
what the idea is there. I don't know if it's weight savings, streamlining, or what, but for what I'm doing, I'm not breaking any records with this thing or anything like that. It's just
Yeah.
for fun. So, but I'm real happy with it. I'm real happy with the way it turned out. It was a very easy build, pretty straightforward, and first time using the Class Coat epoxy paint, and I'm real happy with the results.
Yeah.
Real happy. I don't know if you can see or if you remember, but this has a metal tank.
I remember that. Yeah.
So the seam for the tank is there, and then down the top, and I glassed it and epoxied it, and then primed it and sanded it. But it came out pretty nice. There's a few bumps in there, but all in all, pretty happy with it.
Does that pipe glow red hot when you fly it in the dark?
Yeah, from about here back. Oh, yeah, especially this part
Yeah.
of the combustion chamber. And then, there's at night, there's, I don't know, about a 3-inch flame comes
That's
out there.
cool. Does it look like it's pulsed? You know how some flame trails have rings in them?
No, nothing like that. Nothing like that. It's just a little blue orange flame coming out the back. One of these nights, I'm going to fire one of these up here in the garage while we're on our chat.
Holy shit.
Yeah, I'll just kind of go talk to the neighbor next door and let him know that I'm going to do it. He's not super close. His house is probably 100 feet away from mine, but I think even in here with the garage door closed, he's probably going to hear it because his
He'd
bedroom.
hear something. Yeah.
Yeah, so I got to let Dan know what's going on, but I can do some quick test burps in here on some of these just to show you what a lot of people may have never seen one, or maybe only on a YouTube video or something like that.
Yeah.
But I can do like a quick 5 or 6 second run
That'll
without
be
melting
cool.
the pipe or anything like that. You really want to start them and get air moving over them as fast as you can. Is what.
Yeah.
It's not. I've seen guys run them on a test stand, for 30 seconds or even a minute, but they're standing out there with a leaf blower, blowing air over it since they are static running it. So. Anyway.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering, if people run them full tanks out on the test stand. But
No,
I can see it.
I never do. This one's going to run on gasoline or white gas, Coleman fuel. It'll run on too.
Coleman is based right here in Wichita.
Are they really?
Okay. Yep. Sheldon Coleman. You ever heard of Big Dog Motorcycles?
Oh, yeah.
That's right here also. I think they're out of business now, though.
Yeah, they are. I know a girl that took a test drive on a Big Dog motorcycle at a dealership in Michigan back in like 2002, and she dropped the damn motorcycle. They were trying to talk her into buying one, and they let her test drive one, and she dropped the damn thing and then just like beat feet out of there.
She was riding it? Or she was sitting on it?
She was taking it for a test drive, and she got her feet and then tipped over and dropped it in the parking lot. Yeah.
Ow.
Hey, we got John Skukulak on here. He wants to know if pulse jets are your first love and control line.
No, just something that my dad messed around with, and he had, and Dad flew them for fun, never in competition or anything like that. It was just something to something outside the box of normal, even RC flying or control line flying. They're noisy, they're fast, they're neat. That's really it. Just for fun.
Go ahead.
Is really what I fly the most, John. That's really where my heart is flying combat. But you know, stunt is a close second, and then these things are just to get the adrenaline flowing, and
Yeah.
it's fun to show them off and fly them. And you know, people love watching these things fly.
Sure.
They've
Yeah.
never seen one, and you show up somewhere where you can fly it, and you get to fly it. They really enjoy watching. I don't have any shortage of volunteers stepping up to the plate to start it, or to be the pump guy or the buzz box guy or the launcher guy. Of course, I'm out in the circle at the handle. I can't. I don't want to
Can't,
start and try running out to the center because I
yeah,
think
you
it
can't
runs
assist them.
too long that way. Although we did it back in the day, back when I was a teenager. You know, if it was me and just one buddy, one of us would pump and the other would do the buzz box and hold the plane. And as the student started, the guy pumping would run to the handle. The other guy would disconnect everything and let the airplane go. But yeah, man, if anybody makes it to Brodax or the Nationals or up to Detroit, that's where I fly these. So anyway, that's what I got. I guess
Cool,
I got
man.
building more stuff because I'm out of stuff now, Rusty. That's it.
Okay. Well, we got a couple of guys on the tube
I've
talking here.
repaired a bunch of Sam's broken planes. We built the Mustang. I built this. So we'll have to get some more broken ones down to repair
Yeah.
and maybe start some other stuff. I do have another jet kit after this one, a cat jet that I want to get ready for this year too. So
Yeah.
but I'm ready to go fly this. I wish I could go fly it tomorrow. You know, it's ready.
I saw the Mustang on another network.
Yeah. I showed that Friday, I think.
Yeah, I believe you did. So we got one guy on YouTube asks another guy, Gary Sinclair and John Skukulak, were asking if a plane has to have its name written on it. I don't think that's a Pampa rule. All you got to have is your number written on the outboard wing. And it's got to be in a minimum of 1-inch letters, and it can be either on the outboard wing or on the outboard fuselage.
Yeah, AMA numbers. Yeah, it doesn't have
Yeah.
to have the name of the airplane, but you know, a lot of guys do it.
I usually name mine something besides what the kit was called. Like I had,
That's right. Come on.
yeah, I had the Osprey. That was probably my best named plane, but it's in a sack now. It was a Sky Ray that looked like a flight streak. I flew intermediate with that. In fact, I flew that the time Shug came to Huntersville.
It's in a sack. That's hilarious. That's too bad, though. Really.
What's too bad? In a sack.
Yeah, that's in a sack.
Yeah, I got a lot of sack full of planes.
Shoot.
I need to. The only reason I've still got some of them is because I hadn't taken the hardware off. I got to get landing gear and fuel tanks. Well, fuel tanks are off, but the control horns and bell cranks, all that stuff.
Sure.
And some of the carbon fiber control rods, they'll fit pretty close to another plane where it's not much trouble to make it work.
Yeah, that's something I wanted to bounce off some other people. When I cut a carbon control rod, I wrap it with tape.
I do too.
And then go through it with a Dremel cutoff wheel.
Yeah, that's what I do.
Okay.
At a bandsaw, it doesn't work well. Ask me how.
Really? You don't want to breathe that stuff either. You should mask up.
No, that's bad. That's bad stuff.
Yeah.
First piece of carbon fiber rod I ever bought to do a push rod with. I tried to cut it on the bandsaw, and that was a mistake. That was
Did the blade grab it and tear it up?
$12 mistake.
So the blade grab it and tear it up?
Yeah.
Oh, man. I've never used anything but just a cutoff wheel on mine. but I like the carbon fiber. It's extremely light compared to the wire, and you don't have to have the standoff halfway up the fuselage to keep it from flexing.
Oh yeah, the fair lead or the
Yeah, that's right. That's what they call it. And I usually use thinner push rods than a lot of people. I've seen, I think, well, arrow shafts are big and fat and ugly, but a lot of people put quarter-inch on mine. I think I put, see what size is mine. It's less than a quarter. It's more than, I must be 560, 3/64 or something like that. Maybe, let's see. No, probably 1/8 inch, I guess. It's stiff enough, but I don't put 1/4 inch.
440 threaded rod with a cotter pin halfway down the fuse, man.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, you talk about weight and stuff on profile trainer planes or even, you know, profile stunt planes. That doesn't add really any weight, you know?
Yeah, no, it doesn't. It adds a little drag sometimes on your rod, but if you get it placed just right, if the rod doesn't flex much, it doesn't make it drag.
I just stick it right in the middle, you know, halfway between the horn and the bell crank.
Yeah.
And it don't flex.
Yeah, what I do.
Cotter pins are cheap.
That's a good idea. I hadn't thought of that. But what I do to determine where the flex is hold the elevator at neutral and pull the up and down lines.
Yeah, that's what I do too, and see where the top is.
Yep. Yep.
So yeah, one of these nights, Rusty, we'll fire these damn things up. Maybe this Friday. Maybe we.
Yeah, Friday's a good night to do something like that.
I'll
get a little wild.
And, let them know we're going to be making some noise over here. So I'll cover up the smoke detector in the garage so I don't set off every smoke detector in the house.
Yeah, that's something I hadn't thought of. Does it blow a hell of a lot of exhaust, get smoke out? I guess it must.
Well, it'll set the smoke detector off.
Yeah.
I run a Cox engine in the garage. It sets my smoke detector off. Mm-hmm. If I have the garage door open, I have to. I got to bag the smoke detector. I just put a Kroger bag over it, and then it keeps it from going off. But you know, I found out pretty shortly after we moved into this house because there's a smoke detector in every room in this house.
Oh, that's good.
1, 2, 3, 7. You know, there's like 11 rooms in this house plus 2 garages. So there's 13 smoke detectors in this house. And if any one of them goes off, they're all linked together. The whole damn house goes off. It's not just the individual detector in the room.
Wow.
Yeah. If the wife burns something in the oven in the kitchen, everybody in the house knows it because they all go off at the same time. They're linked.
Yeah. You got a seriously real fire detection system. We just got a individual ones here, but with this little house, you can hear it anywhere in the house.
I think that's the way you got to build them now. I think it's code because I mean, I built this house 5 years ago, and you know, the first time I either ran an airplane engine or my wife burned something, every smoke detector in the house was going off, and I was like, oh, I guess they're linked together. So.
Oh, here comes Gerald. Gerald's been flying.
Oh, Gerald.
Hey,
man.
Hey, guys.
Oh, is that Max or Otto? I can't see. Oh, there you go.
Hey, we got some people.
And Otto.
All right.
So did y'all have some good flights?
Yep.
Yeah, it looked like you got fuel on your shirt, Gerald.
Oh yeah, I got fuel on my shirt, and he's got black diesel stains all over his. We were flying. That's what we were flying. Little half-day diesel combat wings.
Oh yeah, that's a badass little airplane there.
Very nice. So who won? Who got more cuts?
Well, pretty much even.
Well, you did well on airtime, but your brother got the best cut. he managed to take, or you took the streamer all in one go, your minimal airtime that you had.
So he got the kill.
Max.
Max got the kill.
Yeah, they both had a bit of fun. Yeah. You both managed to take each other's streamers. So we'll just need more streamers. But they both enjoyed their bit of time outside because it's sweltering hot though. So they wanted to come in and have a drink and rest and relax. So
if it's hot, why are you all wearing long pants? Do they not make shorts in New Zealand?
Well, I like wearing longs just to keep the sun off because we have extra high UV where we are.
Okay.
So we're close to the South Pole, so the burn time is very, very quick. So we normally put a hat on.
Oh, okay. I never thought about that.
But
Yeah,
when I'm hot, I think I'd rather have a sunburn than wear long pants when I'm hot.
but the dark colors, doesn't that exacerbate the heat?
It doesn't bother me. Well, at the end of the day, you'll sweat more, I suppose, in dark colours, but you tend to cool off as well. But you think of people in the desert, often they are wearing dark colours.
Okay.
So, it's not that unusual, but a lot of other people will wear shorts, but a lot of people in New Zealand end up with skin cancer. And
Really?
you see a lot of aeromodelers have got it all down their legs, all down their legs and along their arms, skin cancer. My father got bad skin cancer when he was doing patrol work.
I never thought the UV being much higher there. That's something that would have never crossed my mind.
Yeah, that's right. I had heard it thins out when you go south, but I hadn't even thought about having to take extra protection from it.
We've got the highest skin cancer rates in the world, basically.
Wow, no kidding.
It's because we've got ocean all around us and we're close to the South Pole. We sort of get the heat waves come across from Australia, but you just seem to get more UV light here. So Australia is renowned for skin cancer as well. But
hey, Gerald, I just got done showing the Tamigo. It's finished.
Oh, wow, that looks neat. Yeah. Thanks,
Ready
man.
to go.
Yeah. Looking good. Yeah, we've been following it on the videos when we've rewatched it when we've had time. The boys and I have been watching.
It's ready for its maiden flight, man. All ready to go. So, time to start another one, I guess.
Yeah. So you're going to work on the Dyna jet with the stunt wing next time, I presume.
Yeah, I'm waiting. I'm actually waiting for some parts from Robert Bolton. Do you know him?
Yeah, we know Robert Bolton. We don't do a lot of speed flying, but Robert Bolton's here in New Zealand, and he's one of the frequent speed and team race people.
Okay, so then you know the Bolton T-34. Obviously, this is his jet.
Yeah.
I bought it from him. I'm getting some of the hardware bits from him for the Pulse jet. The mounting brackets that he makes.
Yeah.
Little bits of machined steel here. The mounting brackets and bell crank and some other some rings and clamps and stuff. I contacted him and asked if he could just make me the identical stuff that he sells for the Bolton T-34, and I just PayPal'd him the other day. So I got a package coming from New Zealand with my mounting hardware that's going to go on the jet stunner. So
sounds good.
Yeah.
Yeah, the guys that fly team race and speed like to fly in Taranaki where they've got a hard circle. We don't have a hard circle in Auckland, so we often just touch up. We meet different team race flyers when they've got a meet on that's over grass. Otherwise, we don't actually see a lot of speed or team race unless they have the nationals at Carterton where they've got another concrete circle.
Okay. So, yeah, you got to have pavement for the jets and speed guys. Yeah, you got to have paved circle for sure.
Yeah, because we had
today.
Sorry.
Did the boys go to school today?
Yeah. They normally get home at about 3:30 in the afternoon, and I just said, well, let's go and have a bit of a fly.
Huh? That's cool.
Yeah, they didn't have the day off like my kids, Doug, because they live in New Zealand.
No,
they don't get President's Day off. Our kids were out today, Gerald, because it's President's Day.
Oh no.
Yeah.
It's a national holiday today.
Yeah.
You're killing me, Smalls.
You're funny.
We've got our national holidays for things like Anzac Day, which is a commemoration of the alliance they had between the American, New Zealand, and Australian forces during World War One. We have a holiday to commemorate that, which is a bit like your presidential day.
Okay.
And then we don't have a holiday off for Halloween, but we have days off for Easter and a Waitangi Day, which is a
the day when they signed a treaty or something.
yeah, well, they've signed a treaty between European settlers or European forces and Maori forces, so we've got a day to celebrate that. But I suppose like your Independence Day, it's a similar sort of a celebration.
Do you have any politicians claiming to be of a tribe that they're actually not?
All right. That's
No, we've got quite a popular PM right now. She's a young PM, one of the youngest PMs we've had, and I suppose she doesn't look too hard on the eye, so she's quite popular now. And then, so your politics here in New Zealand, the major parties are all pretty much the same. There's not much difference between them. We don't seem to have the contrast between the Democrats and Republicans that you people have, but it all goes around the same. Everything sort of happens underneath it. It's all the same. I would say there's no great difference.
Yeah.
we all just fly model airplanes and get along.
Yeah. No kidding.
That's right. Yeah, forget about the politics. Just build those planes. Yeah.
Just fly some airplanes, man.
Yeah.
Yep, that would do it.
According to the YouTubers, I was mistaken a little while ago when I said the Pampa AMA rules required you to have the the numbers on the fuselage. I said just on the outboard side or the wing, but JP came back, said that AMA requires them to be on both sides of the fuselage or the rudder.
Upper right-hand lifting surface of the main.
What?
The upper right-hand main lifting surface.
Okay.
Or the fuselage.
Got to be on the fuselage.
Both sides of the fuselage. Yeah. Yep.
Or the fuselage and or tail. But I had said the outboard fuselage, and they're telling me now that it's got to be on both sides of the fuselage.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, definitely.
Or rudder.
Yep.
And 1 inch tall. So I stand corrected.
Yeah, it used to be 1 inch. Let's see, was it 1 inch or a third of the wing cord, whichever was smaller?
Huh. Gerald,
I've never heard that.
Gerald, do you guys have lettering requirements and numbering requirements in New Zealand? Do you have what is your organization there, first of all?
Well, it used to be called New Zealand Model Aeronautical Association, NZMAA, and they changed it to Model Flying New Zealand, which doesn't sound as nice to me. But we had NZMAA number. I used to have a 3-digit number because I signed on in the early 80s and got like a 900 and something. But then I stopped for a while, for like a year, and came back and got a new number. And then I was I was into the 4-digit numbers. But yeah, I used to have a 3-digit number. But yeah, we put numbers on our models if we're competing internationally, but otherwise there's no requirement.
No requirement. Okay. And how many members do you think you have? Do you know what the numbers are up? Do the boys have numbers?
Yeah,
membership or anything like that?
Yeah, they have a membership card. I sometimes put it on the drawer here, but their membership numbers are like 1,200 or something. They're not that high. I'd have to dig them out. But yeah, we have about 1,200. But for our population, I suppose it's reasonable.
My AMA number in the 90s was like 200,000 something, 200,000 whatever.
Wow.
And then one year when I re-upped, I called and asked if they could issue my dad's old number because he had passed away. So I got a number of 48,913. That's my AMA number. They reissued my dad's number. So in the 90s, when I signed up, I was in the 200,000s. I signed Sam up in, let me think here, 5 years ago, probably 2014, 2015. He's 981,339. That's how many AMA numbers have been issued. 981. So almost a million.
I've got a 7-digit number.
Interestingly enough, at last year's Brodax, you know, we met that young boy from Pennsylvania that came out to Brodax and flew all week, and Sam ended up giving him an airplane. I had his dad sign him up for an AMA membership that week. So it would have been, you know, June of 2018, and he was over a million. His number was 1,100,000 something. So AMA has had over a million members since they started the organization.
Yeah. I've got a 7-digit. I've got a 7-digit number too.
They don't keep track. Well, yeah, 7.
I got a 5-digit number.
Isn't that crazy?
Oh, it's pretty healthy. I'll see if I can find a magazine.
Yeah, I'd like to take a digit or two off of mine. That's a lot of numbers. I could go. Mine's 1006822, so I could make it 106822 or 16822.
That's why I was happy to get rid of my 200,000 number and get my dad's 5-digit number. You know?
Yeah, I'd like to change mine, but I think you got to pay them now to do it. Oh, let me see.
That's our magazine, our national magazine. It's a bit like the, what do you call yours? Model Aviation.
Model Aviation is our,
Ours is Model Flying World, and it's sort of got all the normal ads and stuff in it. But
does it have control line coverage?
It does have a bit of control line coverage. It's actually got a remit that I put in there for the use of spectra lines in the current issue. But on free flight, there's our control line SIG. And
hey, Gerald, do you ever see Model Aviation, our magazine?
Sometimes, yeah. Some have come into the country. I'm a member of PAMPA. I paid up and became a member of PAMPA, so I get a bit of information about what's happening through there.
So I'll tell you, I'll start saving my magazines, and when I get like 3 or 4 of them, I'll send them to you just for you to check out. I'll ship them.
Oh,
to you.
Yeah, I signed up for the paper.
It can't be, you know, $10-15 to ship them or whatever.
Yeah, I'm happy to PayPal you some money to ship them.
I'll just send it to you just so you can check them out. You know.
I wonder if for the paper magazines this time too.
And you know what else? Hang on a second.
There might be a library rate, you know, or a literature rate that makes it even less expensive.
Gerald, I've got.
Oh, really?
I've got old model airplane news from 1962. Here's one from 1967.
Wow.
Here's one from 1980.
I've never even seen one of those.
I've got a bunch. I probably got 50 of these things, but I'll throw some of these old ones in too, man. Because I'll tell you what, this old 1962 model airplane news. Let's just look here. Let me see if I can find something interesting in here.
You know, one of the things about these model magazines,
there's an ad.
You know, we complain about how much advertisement there is in it, but if you look in the old ones, it's jam-packed too. But also the articles and stuff are packed in there. And is that a
little CO2 powered engine that has got that line coming off the head?
It was. You know, and I want to say in this, I've read some of these. Duke Fox used to write a little article in the back where he answered letters from people.
Yep. Oh, that's cool. And that was my favorite part of Popular Mechanics in those magazines. Is that
talked about the engines coming out, the engines that they had, and you know, tips and tricks. I think it was Duke's Tips or something like that.
I think it was Duke's Mixture.
the smoking Unix
here's
of
an
model
old,
airplanes?
Here, pull that up, Rusty. Present that. There's an old ad for Vico control line kits from 1962.
Thunderbird and
Wow.
Smoothie and all its friends.
And then continued on the next page.
But you know, they didn't sit around and watch television all day and night back then. So they had a lot of stuff to read. You know, it was still a jam-packed magazine.
Yeah.
Here it is. Here it is right here. Duke's Mixture.
Yeah.
Oh,
Duke Fox in 1962.
Q&A.
A little bit of Duke's Mixture. Let's see what was going on in.
I've got a fox that burps at the top of every loop. What do I do?
Yeah, 1962.
You put a popsicle stick in the boost port.
All right, so here's from Duke's Fox. What do you do to a Fox 40 to really make it turn up in rat races? And Duke said, set up the fuel system on pressure, remove carb inserts, file intake square edge bearing, file needle body, streamline, make sure piston clears head and rear cover by 1/64 of an inch, free up and polish as required. Run on mist fuel and an 8-inch diameter prop.
Oh, on a 40? Dang.
That's what he said. Hey, that's man. Here's the next question. Here, this is a great one. How do you break in a motor? Duke says, put it in an old airplane and fly it. Just keep the mixture on the rich side for a dozen or so flights.
That sounds good. That's better than putting it on a test bench.
Running a gallon of fuel for it, boring. Yeah, I like to run them in on the plane, but sometimes you get carried away and lean them out there a bit too much.
Yeah,
you've got to land them early.
Yeah, you can kill one like that.
Yeah.
Here we go. What can I do to get my motor started in sub-zero weather?
Oh, good God.
Oh, boy.
Only try well-worn loose motors. Add 4 or 5% propylene oxide to the fuel. Use a wet cell with 2.2 volts.
You can get that chemical around here nowadays, can't you?
Glow plugs aren't worth a crap either.
So yeah, that's interesting. But Gerald, I'll get hooked up with you somewhere and PM me an address or something on Stunthangar, and when I get a few model aviations put back, I'll ship them to you with a couple of these old model airplane newses that I've been going through. Because what I've been doing is, as I read them, I got about 200 of these magazines from Matt Henry, and as I read them, I take them to Huntersville in May and just put them on the table and give them away, and then I'll take some in October and give them away. But those guys have had enough of them. I've passed out enough there. I think you'll get a kick out of them.
Yeah, bring enough to where I can pick one up because I want to get a couple of them.
None for you, Rusty.
Oh yeah, I'll sneak around. I'll get Holly to come get them for me.
I asked the local library here if they had a subscription or if they had that magazine in their catalog, and they said, no, we don't have it. And I said, well, would you like it? And they go, well, sure. So I said, well, I'll give you all mine, and you can keep them at this branch. And they said, well, to do that, you have to put it in the main library. They have to take care of it over there, and then they'll bring them back over here.
Oh.
And I said, what? I said, can't I just drop them off here and have you guys, leave them here? Well, could, I guess. I said, well, that's that.
Nah, they got to go through key punch operators to get all that stuff scanned in, typed in.
I'm drop them off over there and let them deal with it.
Yeah, at least they'll be somewhere. Maybe somebody will get some use.
Yep. And a lot of those magazines, I've got several old magazines too, and they have really free flight designs in them. You know, really
Right.
fun airplanes. What's that?
Max has been drawing what we've been on. Well, we've been measuring. He's drawn us something. What does it say, Max?
It says, it's no wonder it took you 40 years. I told you to build a model rocket.
Hold it up higher. There we go.
Yeah, 40 years.
That's pretty good.
Model. Hey, that's pretty good artwork right there.
Yeah, that's pretty funny too.
Right.
Yeah, he loves drawing his little sketches. Yeah, he's very prolific, our Max. But he likes decorating his models too. That's one thing that he's always keen on doing is painting up your model and giving it a unique color scheme, right? Don't you, Max?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I spent an hour or so watching model rocketry on YouTube last night. That's pretty.
He'll end up with a 20-point finish at the Nats, then, won't he?
Yeah, if he can do it in paint.
Yeah, unfortunately, we don't get appearance points in Stunt here in New Zealand. But yeah, we were watching the model rocketry article that you did last session. I think it was. We were watching the reruns, and I think Mike was bringing out his different model rockets, and that's what inspired you, didn't it, Max?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it was quite exciting just seeing the different size rockets. Because all the Eastie rockets, they're very expensive here and very hard to get.
Oh,
So, yeah. Yeah.
Gerald, I think you need a new battery in your clock back there.
Oh, the clock. Oh.
It says 5 after 6, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's actually 10 minutes past, but yeah, that's what time it is now. It's reminding me I'm probably going to get moving and warm up the dinner and tidy things up before my wife gets home. But she said she might come out for a fly again after, so I'll leave all our gear outside and she might take up the model for a flight too.
Well, what time's the sunset?
It's about 8:30, so she'll probably be home.
More hours.
Enough time to put in a flight or two. Weekend.
Oh, I'm sorry, Gerald. How far into the summer are you?
How far?
Into your summer are you?
We're at the end of summer now, nearly autumn. There's still leaves on the trees, but I've been listening to people there saying, I think Rusty was saying he can see buds on the tree now and trees
It would
and things.
be the equivalent of our August 18th down there. 6 months. Just add 6 months and you see what Gerald's got. So
Yeah. So yeah, we're coming to the end. It's still warm though. It's been very dry. I wanted to mow the flying field and mow around the paddock, but they've said to us, don't mow. It's so dry that there's a risk of flies from machinery. So I'll wait till we get a bit more rain before I try mowing, which is a bit scary because they have had some big fires around here. Just dry grass catching light on machinery where they've been hay.
is that normal for this time of the summer?
Yeah, it's a bit drier than usual. I think that's something that people are worried about.
Oh, I got a McCoy in another window here. What you got there, Doug?
This is the McCoy 35 that we're going to be flying these 2 for the show airplanes with.
All right.
And I'm just getting ready to put the fuselage together. This is what I've been piddle farting around with the whole time we've been talking.
It's looking good.
Putting these, this is, of course, it's the fuselage sides.
Yeah.
And they go there, and the engine goes in here.
I have never built a profile like that before. That's pretty cool.
Profile. And, so that goes there, and then I have to figure out which where the width of the bulkhead is and all that, so I can squeeze the.
Oh, I see. It's not going to be a profile. It's going to be like a full fuselage.
It's a box fuselage.
Box. Yeah.
Yep.
That looks nice. Good work.
Thank you. It's going to be super strong because those are 1/4 inch squares.
Do you harden any of your struts and stuff with CA, thin CA?
I just glued them in with CA, if that's what you mean.
Well, yeah, I didn't know if you drew a line on each side to let it soak in and harden it up.
Never heard of that. It was like double.
Yeah, I just meant not on the sheet sides, but I just meant the little struts that you've got crisscrossed inside. I was wondering if you hardened them extra with thin CA.
No, I just ran glue
Yeah.
on them, you know, to glue them on there.
Yeah.
Got them all cut and sized and laid in there so they're.
I'm sort of new at the reason I'm asking. I'm fairly new at super thin CA, and you know, I've used tight bind and other stuff, but and thicker CA, but I've grown to like thin now. And,
If your
and
parts
I
fit
found it.
really well, if you don't have gaps and whatever, if your parts are nice and tight, you know, every joint is good, then thin works, and it'll wick in where
Yeah.
it needs to. Stuff, but
Yeah, it wicks and spreads out.
You don't want
floppy.
so if you don't have a good joint, you don't want to use it. You can compress.
Yeah.
Especially on sheeting, and then you'll end up with warps and shit.
Yeah.
You know,
if I got a little bit of a gap somewhere, sometimes I'll pack it with baking soda.
Gerald, you using that cast iron stove over there much these days?
Oh, we still do, but only in winter. This is
I was gonna say, you're not using it right now.
Yeah. Oh, we did burn some rubbish the other morning because of the fire ban. I can't. I wanted to get rid of stuff that we can't recycle. So, but you don't want to burn it in the middle of the day. No.
Yeah.
But it does well. It does well for us. Keeps us warm in winter. And I like to cook like a stew on it, where you can just take your time and it does a nice stew, things like that, and tenderized meat.
That's an apocalypse stove right there, buddy. You'll be starving when everybody else is starving.
Survival.
There's no electricity and no gas. Gerald will still be eating.
Yeah, well, we're used to that happening when we get power cuts. So we bring out our water pump and our inverters and things, and we're ready for it because we're in the country and we have overhead power lines. And when the lines are down, you've got to be self-sufficient, and sometimes it can be up to 2 weeks.
2 weeks?
Yeah, we've had up to 2 weeks where we've had no power. So the generator comes out after a couple of days, and you've got to recharge your batteries.
So are you building model airplanes by kerosene lamp?
Yeah. Just maintenance at that point. But yeah, hopefully it happens during the summer when you got light. Yeah.
Yeah, this is off topic a little bit, but I just my mother-in-law gave me all of her husband's oil lamps. He collected oil lamps.
Oh wow!
My wife's father, he passed away in 1986, but he had a pretty decent collection, about 20 nice Aladdin oil lamps back from the 60s and 70s. And I brought them home from North Carolina about a year ago, and I went through them all, and I was able to find wicks and parts to get them all running again. And I've got every one of them set up to go and full of oil in case I use them when we have a power outage. Of course, it's only, our power might go out for 1 hour or something like that, maybe 2 or 3. But and then I light some off and just burn them in the wintertime anyway, just for some ambiance in the house,
Yeah, that sounds neat.
And I actually, because I'm not a prepper or anything like that, but I got like 3 months of emergency food for me and the family, water purifiers, and I've got about 6 gallons of lamp oil, just in case, for whatever.
Yeah, they always say here to make sure you've got some containers full of water in case you lose your water, because we're on tank water, and
that's the worst. That's the worst thing to lose too. I never really realized it until we were out for over a week when we had floods back in 2015, October 2015, and man, not having water sucks.
Yeah, I bet.
Well, you got to have a way to pump the water when your power's out too. Even if you've got tanks, but we've got.
Luckily, we had a swimming pool that was crystal clear when it first started, but it didn't last long after the pump stopped running because we were out of electricity too for a while, and it turned green.
Well, I've got a couple of steri straws. Actually, I bought like a dozen.
Oh, yeah. I've heard of those.
And you can stick it in a mud puddle and drink out of a mud puddle, and it's fine.
Wow.
Yeah, it's called a steri straw.
Is it pretty hard to draw liquid through? You have
No,
to
you
pull.
can stick it, like I said, you can stick it in a mud puddle and drink right out of it, and it filters it. And I think they're only good for, like 20 or 30 gallons, something like that. It's not a high volume water purification system. But if you're in a jam and you're thirsty, and it comes in its own little plastic pouch, I mean, you can stick it in your pocket, but you could drink out of a mud puddle if you had to.
So it gets bacteria and as well as dirt and stuff.
Everything.
Yes.
Everything. Steri straw.
Wow. You probably get that at a hunting and fishing outfitter.
Yeah, I bought them online because I bought them in bulk. I just bought a dozen of the Steri straws, and then I bought 2 other larger water filtration pumps that you can clean water with.
Yeah.
And then the 3 months of freeze dried food. I always keep about 30 gallons of gas here at the house. I 6 5-gallon cans, and then every 2 or 3 months I'll dump it in a vehicle and refill the cans. Just be prepared. Have a little bit of something put aside in case.
That's a good idea. I'm not near that prepared. Not for a long term, anyway.
Since we're on that subject a little bit, I can't understand why gold is what people want to use for commerce.
No.
I don't
Whiskey,
understand that.
cigarettes, and bullets and guns will be the kind.
Yeah, there'll be water,
food,
and
whiskey,
all that.
cigarettes.
Who the hell's going to need to, chip off a piece of gold and trade it? What's gold going to do for you?
Nothing.
Yeah, I don't understand that.
It was a recognised commerce, and it was light. I suppose that will probably be in the thing, light, portable, and permanent, and that probably is the reason why. But in this day and age, you realise it's so different to the way we operate now.
Yeah.
But it's still it's still the staple, especially in those developing countries. That's what they'll put their money in. They'll hide it somewhere.
Yeah,
but what good is it to you? You can't eat it, and you can't,
That's the thing. You have to be able to eat it, drink it, smoke it, or shoot it.
Yep. It's
Bullets,
going to be.
You need bullets to kill animals to put food on the table.
You probably ought to get proficient with a bow as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was just crossing my mind too.
Well, when you run out of bullets, yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Get a crossbow. Boing. They're pretty deadly. But anyway, that's my 2 cents.
So, how many flights did you guys put up, Gerald?
Until we were worn out. I can't tell you how many. The boys were all hot and sweaty, and everybody was fed up. And then they left me flying a model and marched off. But, yeah, they got some good flights up, and I just said, "We'll leave the gear while it's still largely intact. There's only one model down, really, and when my wife Alina gets home, hopefully she can put a couple of flights up as well." But, there's some of with those. We've got to get our time in.
That's awesome. I really wish you and your boys could come to the States someday for the Nats while they're still young and meet Sam. He would just get a kick out of meeting them guys and flying with them. Yeah, we got a few kids that show up at a few contests and a couple more that come to the Nats, but it's really, we're not overwhelmed with children flying control line here in the U.S.,
Yeah, we'd love to do it. I'd love to go to Brodex as well. So hopefully it'll still be going, and we'll get there before anything changes drastically. So yeah.
Well, I'll make you a promise, and I think I might have said this before. If I ever win the lottery, man, I'm sending you 4 first-class tickets to come to the Nationals here, man, for you and your whole family.
Well, you better qualify that by if you win the lottery and get like $1 million and stuff.
Well, yeah, I get a cajillion dollars.
Because I've won the lottery and had $7 given to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, most of the tickets are little ones, yeah. But yeah, I've got a number of vehicles I need to sell, fix up and sell, and that'll probably be my ticket to the States. So I've just got to work away at my different projects here. And my wife keeps saying to me, "You're not getting any younger. Try and get it done while you've still got your health with you." Because it's something that you see so many people, they plan these things, but time runs out on them. So you've got to work towards those goals, don't you?
You know, it seems to me, I remember a couple of the first time Sam and I went to the Nats, which would have been, let's see, we went 18, 17, 15, 2015. There was a couple of Brits there, a couple of British guys that were big scale guys. Not that you would know them because you're from New Zealand and they're from Britain, but I thought it was interesting that we had a couple of guys from England over here to fly scale. Now, you know, we do get a lot of Canadians come down and fly in the nationals because it's not too much of a haul for them from Canada. But you know, coming from another country, you know, got to be quite an undertaking.
I whipped this out.
Go to another country to fly in a contest, you know.
Yeah, I know a few that have flown at the US Nationals. Andrew and his brother Brendan Robinson have both flown at the US Nationals. They flew in speed, but yeah, they fly mainly jet as well. So the Robinson brothers are famous for flying.
You know, it seems I met an Aussie too that was flying pulse jet speed. He was there flying pulse jet speed and like 15 speed. Is that a class?
Yeah, the FAI speed.
One wing, just one wing, and then one elevator going the other way.
Yeah, I knew another guy that used to be heavy into the speed circuit, but he's a bit older now, Bill Bell, and he flew a lot of the different European world champs over the years, but it would probably be 15, 20 years back when he was active participating. But like for a lot of people, his health got the better of him in the end, and he couldn't really circulate in the circle anymore.
Do you understand the speed guys, man? Do you get why they do what they do? Because I don't, man. I mean, I like flying my pulse jet because it makes noise and it's a lot of fun. But the IC guys and even the jet guys, they're out there splitting hairs, man, to just get that.
You got to have the
something.
Got to have that in you, that desire to win, that desire to compete and do well. And I know quite a few guys that are really into speed and team race. There are a lot in our club, the Auckland Free Flight Club. We call ourselves a free flight club, but most of it's actually control line. And we've got some really keen race and speed people in the club, but I tend to go towards stunt, bit of combat and scale. That's what I've got some speed model, well, not speed models, some team race models here. We've built Phantom races for little 1.5cc diesels, and I've got a couple of B-class team races with Enya 29s on them, but I don't really fly it. It's just a novelty for me. I've inherited those two models. But
like you said, it's a novelty. To me, flying a pulse jet is a novelty, but I have no ambition to compete.
Those guys that go out and put their wrist in a fork, you know, and spin around with holding onto the pole, that doesn't
it's
look
hard.
like a lot of fun to me.
No, it doesn't. And can imagine, you know, doing that all day, you know, with different classes of models and stuff. I mean, I get dizzy flying my jet. It's a lot of work doing that, and I just want to go have fun. I don't want to try to beat anyone. I don't want to put that kind of work in. What I'm saying, I'd rather, you know, competition. I would rather try to get better or put my effort into better combat models.
Yeah. And team racing looks like a lot of work too, but it looks like more fun than speed.
They pay crazy money for those engines. Flying speed is not cheap. It's expensive. You know, horsepower costs money, man. You want to win and go fast, it costs money, and a lot of work goes into those planes and engines. But I guess that technical part of it is probably appeals to them. You know,
Yeah,
trying to
engineer.
be better than the other guy. It's that technical aspect and working on the engines and stuff like that. And
Yeah, they tend to be the engineering sorts that get them to speed. They tend to be the sorts that can modify their own engines and improve them. But they're not the sort that just buy the gear. Like stunt flyers tend to buy the gear. Speed flyers tend to want to tweak it themselves.
yeah, you're right.
Yeah, it's just the stuff they like to think about is splitting hairs, I guess.
Well, and it's crazy expensive. I've seen some of those F2C racing models for sale on eBay. Like those carbon fiber wings that they fly. You know, they're like $1,500 or something, man. Just for an airframe. That's without a motor in it, even.
Yeah. Yeah, you've got to be committed to it, and you've got to do all that driving to get to those tarmac fields and compete with like-minded sorts. So I suppose carrier would be similar. We don't have a carrier flying here, really. A few interested people, but in the past, but there's no active carrier. But it takes a lot of commitment as well. And
yeah, where you got to be willing to tinker with stuff.
Yeah, those carrier planes got a complex little control system on them.
Yeah. You know, maybe we can get David Smith on here one night to talk about carrier. That would be, you know.
That's true. That's something we've never really talked about. I'll ask him. I'm going to see him in a few days. So.
Yeah, we talked about getting, you know, some other stunt guys on here, you know, Randy or Derek or some of the top stunt guys, along with Bob Hunt. But yeah, it'd be interesting to have a carrier guy on here and have, because David's got a ton of equipment. I'm sure he could do a great show and tell on carrier.
Yeah, I'll talk to him about it. That's a great idea.
Oh, well, we better get moving. I've got to go and organise things. So, Max and Otto, you want to say goodbye, Otto? Max?
All right, see you later, Max.
Keep them out of the dirt, guys.
All right, just show them
Max has been.
he hasn't fully polarized it yet, but.
He's been. What have you done there, Max?
Well, it's about this guy who's flying RC, and then this control line combat guy comes in, and then he crashes his model, and the RC guy swears at him.
Hold it up a little higher, Gerald, and a little to your right.
There we go. Now we got it.
Right there. That's awesome.
That is. You got great expressions on their faces too. That's incredible.
Wow. Very, very talented, Max. Very talented.
Oh, well, we better get busy, and we'll bid you all a good night, and we'll catch you around next time. We've got some spare time.
Hey, Gerald, I think Friday I'm going to run a Pulse Jet Friday on our chat.
Oh, well, it'll be neat. But yeah, we might have to watch it on the reruns, because your Friday is our Saturday, and my wife normally dominates the Saturday and gets done what she wants to do.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah. But otherwise, we'll catch it on the reruns. But yeah, normally Monday works better for us because my wife's still at work.
Monday's better. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Y'all take it easy.
Bye, man.
Okay. Oh, good night, all, and thanks for running the show, Rusty.
Oh, you're certainly welcome. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Well, I'm glad Gerald checked in. He's always
me too. He's been too busy having fun this summer.
He was flying like an hour ago. He was you know, that's great. They were out there flying combat planes. That's awesome. Yeah, I wish Sam would love to meet Otto and Max, you know, and hang out. I want Sam to be around other kids that are flying control line. You know?
Yeah, that'd be great. It's just too bad that we just don't have that many. There's Kyle, you know, comes to Huntersville, but he doesn't always have a whole lot to say. I don't know.
I don't think he don't have the bug the way Sam does. I mean, Kyle does it because, you know, he's Duck's grandkid. And Kyle's a kid. He's a nice boy. He's a very respectful young man. But he doesn't have the fire. You know what I mean? He's not really excited about it. It doesn't seem like. he does well. He flies great, and he's
Yeah.
improving very well. He's doing better and better every year. But yeah, I think he could. Not that he could take it or leave it, but he just doesn't have the excitement and the fire. You know,
Right.
he
Yeah, I
enjoys
get what you're
doing
saying.
it, but it's not a super passion for him. You know, but him and Sam are thick as thieves, man.
Yeah.
They hang out together at the
Oh,
dam
do they? Okay.
all week, and at Huntersville they run around getting into trouble there.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. I didn't realize they buddied up.
Oh yeah, they've been buddied up for a while since Huntersville, man. Yeah, yeah. Will Will likes it because Kyle's older than Sam, but Sam whoops up on Kyle in the contest. You know,
Yeah.
Will likes to nudge Kyle a little bit, and especially at Brodax a couple of years ago. You know, Sam was flying, and Kyle had his nose buried in his iPad or whatever. What does he call it? Will called it a Google head. Called him a Google head or something. He wanted to be in his tablet the whole time, and
Yeah.
Will mess with Kyle a little bit. He'd be like, "You need to be out there practicing like Sam is. You need to be out there flying. Go fly, get some practice in, so Sam don't whoop up on you." And then you know Sam will whoop up on Kyle, and it's fun. I just like to see the boys and them kids with that electric ring rat of Will's. Will Davis turned Sam and Kyle and Xander, Alan Buck's grandson, and there was two other ones out there. I don't remember who it was, but Will turned them loose with one of them ring rats and a sack full of batteries, and they were just all out there having the time of their lives. They were just whooping it up and hooting and hollering and running the batteries out, crashing the plane. They'd bring more up, and Watmore would fix it. They'd go fly it again. And
watch Mr. Fix It, man. He keeps them in the air.
Watt would fix it again.
Those ring rats are pretty good little planes for kids.
They are. They're great airplanes. They're great planes. I mean, that's what required me to build the electric trainer for Sam, you know. We haven't even flown that damn thing. Just a couple times in the backyard, you know. I know I showed it before, and I'm showing crap I've shown 100 times, but our electric stuff.
Yeah.
Is that
a
a
RC car throttle? This thing is going to be a lot of fun. I'm going to get like 20 batteries for this thing and just turn Sam loose with it at Brodax, you know. Go have fun.
Is that a
Yeah,
ring
that's a good looking little plane.
No, this is not a ring rat. Doug, you might not have been. I don't think you were joining our conversations back when I built this. It's a 1300 kV motor, 1200 milliamp battery pack, 30 amp ESC. They're half A combat cores that haven't been cut down, so it's got a 48-inch span. And, you know, it's just a profile. But I put a receiver on it so that you can run it off RC car throttle. You can
throttle, yeah.
You can speed it up, slow it down.
Did you incorporate the handle into the RC deal or no?
No, I did not. Because it's easy enough. It's easy enough to hold both.
Okay. So it's a pistol grip one?
Right there, Doug.
Yeah, pistol grip. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I could make a handle out of this. I probably should do that. You know, just because it would be easy and it would be better, I think, to.
You know, don't get carried away yet because if you have lightweight airplanes and a heavy handle, you're never going to understand your airplane. You'll never feel your plane out there.
Yeah. I mean, it's easy enough to do, you know, to fly and do this.
Yeah,
you know?
that's what I would probably stick with. Cause we were flying one day and this guy brought out this antique freaking line reel handle. It had two cranks on it, one for the up line and one for the down line. And you know, it was a big old heavy thing, and he was flying a oh, now I can't remember the name of it, but it was a biplane, I think, and it ended up being tail heavy too, a little half A sized jobby or a 9 on it, and and the airplane was so light and that handle was so heavy, you were always behind it.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
Well,
took a long way for me to. It was a long way to get to what the it was, but you know
I've
that's what.
seen guys take this apart. They've taken all the guts out of these and streamlined it, gotten rid.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Now, if you could put a battery pack in your pocket, and you know make, you know, still, it's just the weight at the handle is you know. Yeah.
Able to fly the whole stunt pattern. It'll do everything at 3/4 throttle.
Well,
So I
that's
need
cool.
to. I just need to set the end point on the throttle. I got to lower it so
So
Sam's not
when
killing the
you
battery.
jam the throttle all the way, you only get 3/4. Yeah.
Right, right. But yeah, that's going to be a fun airplane for Sam this summer, for sure. Because the whole reason I built it is in electric, because he's not starting nitro engines yet. He's not doing that. I
What
really
age is he?
get him starting 049s and just turn him loose with some cock stuff and let him learn. But that one, I can give him a sack full of batteries and he can go change them and do it on his own, you know.
What age is he, Mike?
He's 10. He's
Yep.
10.
Yep. Good.
Let's check on my YouTube people and see how many. I got to click over to that page, see how many of them we got. And come on. I'll get the page load. There it goes. Looks like we've got 6 people still watching us.
Well, we better get something going here.
It's after 12. It's almost 12:30. I think, why don't we call it a night, and we'll get back together Friday and do something wow, like run Mike's pulse jet in the garage.
Ooh, yeah.
We'll do it. We'll do it this
Yep.
Friday.
Sounds good. I'll try to come up with something to add. I'm not bringing much to the show lately, so get back moving. I think we're gonna have some nice weather this week. I think it's supposed to be 70 a couple of days, so that'll be good.
I'd like to see some of these YouTube cats that are just watching join our show. Come on in with their stuff and do a little show and tell of what they've got.
Yeah, you dudes, man, there's more of y'all than there are of us. Y'all got some good stuff to show, I bet.
Yeah, we're wore out, man. I've showed everything I own. I got to build more stuff to show more stuff.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right.
Farther along with these airplanes by Friday, probably. Well, unless the weather turns good, we get to go flying.
I like your plane you're building there with the McCoy. That's a nice looking little plane. So we can't wait to see that come together. But anyway,
it's a 2 for the show airplane.
Yeah.
And I've got 3 of them to do because we're building 2 for flying and 1 for static, I think.
Yeah. Okay. All right, people. Well, thanks for coming in here with me, and you YouTubers out there, we appreciate all y'all. And we'll see you back Friday, same bat time, same bat channel. So fair winds, tight lines, and see you later. Good night.
Adios.
See ya.